This is very similar to a project I presented last year, except that we're taking a little more in-depth around the county. So this is the Summer Solstice Festival number 3. And the dates, if you look at page 2, are from June 18th to the 24th this year. Some of our goals for the festival, and the first line there has a little bit of an error. It's actually performed 7 events, including in 2 new areas in Delaware County. One of those is in Powell, that we have never done a festival event for, and also in Galena,
Right.
which we have never been to at all as an orchestra.
Where in Powell would you go, Warren?
Well, we're a little undecided. It's
Not
possibly
sure.
doing one of the preservation parks. The Village Academy is usually available. May do it at the Powell Library.
Okay.
So all those are possibilities.
You're going to do it indoor or outdoor? Or?
Probably indoor, but it depends a lot on what happens with the weather. Most of these events, the one in Galena would be at the McNamara Park. So it's a mix between indoor and outdoors.
Genoa.
You know where that is?
Yeah.
Galena, Genoa, yes.
Oh, wow.
We want to attract attention regionally and locally to Delaware County's quality of life, create art gatherings in many parts of the county for all ages, create an ongoing festival event for year after year, actively go out into the community and reach our audiences instead of always having them come to us, spread the Reed Symphony's resources throughout the county, events that approach a size that make good use of our smaller budget, and then offer all these events at no charge to the audiences. I thought I'd recap a little bit of the last 2 years. These are some of the events we've done. We did one at Austin Manor last year at Ohio Wesleyan, Methodist Theological School, Andrews House. We've done a couple at the Ostrander Library. We did 2 at Buckeye Valley West as part of a 4-H project, a couple at Buckeye Valley East, which put us in Ashley. The Sunbury Library, we've done one at Asbury Church, Dempsey Middle School, and we've done a couple at Willowbrook here in Delaware as well. The next page, I just put in a couple of pictures of some of the posters that we did, just to give you an idea of how we market the event. And then the page after that are just some pictures of some of the former events, Austin Manor, Asbury, some of the different locations around the community. And then the next page actually includes a major article in the Gazette last year. Part of the project that we did with 4-H was working with their children, with the children both at Buckeye Valley East and West, in terms of building community and what does community mean. And so we dovetailed on a project that they did with them following some of the 4-H extension guidelines, and the result was this article in the Delaware Gazette. So that was a little bit of the impact that we had. So then our plans for 2017 are actually on the next page. One of those is actually to have the conductor, Jaime Morales Matos, engaged a little bit more with the community. It's difficult since he lives in Cincinnati. He teaches at Miami University and has a family, but we think we can get him up here for a few more events this year. So one of those, the first ones is actually at Austin Manor. This is a partnership with Northwest Neighborhood Association. And it was a repeat of a project we did last year. Austin Manor turned out to be a great place to do a concert.
You set up on the porch.
We set up on the porch. And if we ever get to the point we can't do 4th of July at Phillips Glen, we may go over to Austin Manor. It's a great place for it.
There's a neat area there.
So we're opening using the Cole Duo this year, flute and guitar. This is actually our first time ever for an opening act, if you will. And as I mentioned, this is a project we're doing with the Northwest Neighborhood Association. We're co-marketing it. There'll be some box lunches, an art show, and some things like that. It was very successful last year, and so they came back to us right away and said, we want to do this again. The Full Sound Chamber Quintet, a string quintet, actually. We're not sure exactly where that's going to happen yet. The Power Liberty event, which is actually designed to be a youth strings honors ensemble. We've never done one of those before. and want Jaime to conduct and work with these youth in the county. And one of the interesting things is we're going to do a world premiere during that. There's a man in Sweden who invented a musical machine called the Marble Machine about a year ago, and it's really caught on YouTube, and we've got the music, and so we're going to actually play that. It's become a big hit on YouTube.
I know.
Yeah,
But we're not using marbles. The Ostrander Library, some more making music with the youth, some Delaware City Schools SAC programming, preservation parks, and we're not sure just which park we're going to go to yet. The Sunday Library, who is anxious to have us come back. As you know, they've just finished an addition to their building, and 2 years ago, we intended to do a program there outside. It rained, and we did it inside. They moved all of the furniture around. We played right in the middle of all the stacks. They loved it so much that when they designed the new library, they left room for just such an event, so we're going back to do that. McNamara Park, this is something that, in fact, the County Foundation has really asked us to pursue. And we'd like to do an event in the Second Ward as well.
Which one's Second Ward?
Second Ward in Delaware, which is just over by Woodward School. It's a project really with the city. The city actually owns the building, but the community has taken over the building, and it's an activity center. They do tutoring there. It's kind of like a second Andrews House in a way. And it's in the old implement building. Trying to remember who the implement
Oh,
dealer
it was
was.
Union Fork and Hoe, wasn't it?
No, that would be on the east side.
I know
Tractor
the building
seller.
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it was from, he had been here from Stratford, he could have told us.
Yeah.
So I just put a little map of some of the different locations.
I don't know if anybody's ever heard Jaime play or not.
If you haven't, it's really spectacular.
Really good musician.
Yes,
Especially his salsa music.
yes.
Really?
He plays a lot of brass instruments.
Geez.
Really good. It comes from a very talented family.
Right.
Jaime, but very
They're a musical talented family, yeah. In fact, I think they're, including spouses, they're 4 members of the Philadelphia Orchestra in the family. So, yeah, it's pretty spectacular.
Yep.
Do you have some more of the dates?
Well, they will all be during the week of the 18th to the 24th. We're kind of shuffling dates
Okay,
around still.
within that.
Right. I know that the Northwest Neighborhood event at Alston Manor will be on the 24th.
Okay.
On Saturday evening.
Okay. I would, the only change I'd make on the McNamara Park, it's really Genoa Township.
Okay.
It's a Galena mailing address,
Right.
but there might be a little confusion over that because it is south of Galena, but close to Galena.
Right. And I have talked with Ron Carr
Oh, good.
about the setup there and everything, so we've
Okay.
had an ongoing conversation.
Oh, great. Good.
So I thought I would just share a little bit about the funding, which is on the next page. We already have a major grant from the Delaware County Foundation for 2017. We have some additional funding from individuals and some organizations. Some of the organizations we've talked about are willing to share some funding and in-kind resources for space, facilities, things along those lines. And then I put logos in of some of the different organizations that we're working with this year. Part of our Ohio Arts Council funding will go towards this project, a prorated amount, as well as a prorated amount of the City of Delaware funding that we receive this year for those events in the City of Delaware itself.
Wow.
And that really actually has to do with the festival and the presentation. I did think I would take a moment and just tell you a little bit about some symphony news coming up. One is, I am pleased to say that we're going to be doing a benefit in the Barn 3.
So you are going to do another one.
We are doing another one. There is a date, there is a location, so all that is in place. We've taken a bigger role in helping with the planning this year, but I'm going to let them tell when all that's going to happen, except it's in mid-August.
So you aren't announcing the location?
I'm not going to announce it,
Okay.
no. But I have been in it. It's about twice the size of the last one. And this time, we're going to play the entire concert. Because if you know, last year, we really got halfway through it, right?
I suggested that we should open this year with the suite from the movie Twister.
Oh, gosh.
After last year?
Was that when you were wearing his sport coat?
No, that was...
That was a
yeah,
force.
But that
That's
was, this was out at the Skinners.
Oh, that's that one. Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
After
Yes.
intermission, they
Well, they asked me a couple of days ago, so what are you going to play? And I said, well, I still have half the program from last year, so.
Oh, my God.
There are two projects we're doing this year with Carnegie Hall. One is, it's a fourth grade education project called Link Up. It will actually be a concert on May 16th at Ohio Wesleyan, but we provided the entire curriculum content for every fourth grade student in Delaware County this year. And working with Carnegie Hall has just been a joy. The materials that we've been able to provide are a significant upgrade. And then we're also finishing a project with the Moms program at Juvenile Court this year. We have received our third PMC Arts Alive grant, which is actually for the Hero Ohio concert, which is this coming Saturday. We received 4 Ohio Arts Council grants this year for sustainability, capacity building, Ohio Artist on Tour, and the fourth one was for the Carnegie program for the fourth grade students. And then we have, in the last 4 years, we've done more than 500 therapeutic drumming sessions in all over Central Ohio. A great number of those have been for the Juvenile Court Therapeutic Treatment Court Program for the juveniles, Maryhaven, and also for the Delaware City Municipal Court. We've been able to do all of that at no cost to the court programs. And then July 4th is the 32nd July 4th concert.
I assume you're going to be back at Phillips Glen?
Yep. And we have a host this year.
Yeah.
So I'm open for any questions that you have of me or of anybody else that's here.
Yeah. Judge, any additional comments or thoughts?
Oh,
I think Lauren's got it covered.
You've got a lot going on. You've added a bunch of stuff, seems like
do.
every year.
Right.
So a lot of
Well, we actually have 2 programs in May, one in June, which the festival actually fills an empty space that we normally have. July 4th, benefit in the barn in August, and then we kick the season off in October. So it's pretty busy.
Yeah, it's great.
the outreach is wonderful.
Yeah,
I really like that. I mean, getting in the map that shows us, you're really
Right.
all over the county.
Yeah.
I did not mention it, but the request this year was for $5,000, which is just slightly more than we asked for last year.
Are all these free, or is any charges in any of these? I saw one has boxed dinner, so I assume it was Austin Manor. Is that a fundraiser, or? There's no problem with that, I'm just curious how it
And I think Northwest Neighborhood may want to pass the hat during it, and that will get divided between the two groups and cover some expenses for Austin Manor. But we're not charging any of the audiences anything for any of these events.
You know, the regular program has a subscription
Right.
service available for...
Our regular subscription
Okay.
season, right. And of course, Benefit in the Barn is a fundraiser for food insecurities in Delaware County. And if you're not aware, we're proud to be a great part of that. They won a national award this year for that event, the Delaware County Farm Bureau. They were awarded that in Phoenix over the year. In the 2 years, they've raised more than $51,000 for food
Amazing.
issues in Delaware County.
That's remarkable. That event came out of nowhere,
Yep.
and 50-some thousand in
Boy.
a couple of years.
Yep.
I mean, it's just huge.
I used to enjoy when I, 20 years ago, picnic at the Pops, and do they still do that?
We don't do it, Columbus Symphony
I'm
does
sorry,
it.
do they still do it? I'm referring to,
Yep.
yeah.
I haven't been.
I haven't been.
I didn't know if they still did it or not.
Yes.
Yeah, they still do.
They actually, they used to do chemical abstracts on Old Tangier Road. They now do it on Columbus Commons downtown where the,
They moved.
That's how long it's been since I've been.
where the mall was.
Last time I was there. Is there any opportunities there for something similar for us, or is it just too big a project for a county our size?
I think for a staff of 1.5, it's too big a project. Well, I like to say I'm 2/3 of the staff.
Well, I think your approach is to do multiple events, multiple venues spread
Right.
across the county. I really like that, because I think
I
it-
do,
it's
I do
a good way.
too.
And again, for those of you who haven't been,
Yes.
these guys, like the PGA golf advertisement, these guys are good, the golfers, these guys are good. I mean, they really are good, so.
Can I just note in response to Chris Merrill's question, I'm a lover of modern, of movie music, orchestral movie music.
Yes.
And in part because it's a great way to connect to folks, for them to hear music that they recognize,
Right.
and to realize that there's something different about listening to that music live about having a 50 or 60-piece orchestra in front of you playing that music, especially at Great Chapel where you're right on top of them. And so if anybody knows of any individuals or corporations in the county that might like to sponsor an event like that during the summers, they should give Warren a call, because we certainly could do something like that.
Sure.
But as you know, Commissioner Benton, from your time on the symphony board, putting on a concert like that, it costs between $15,000 and $25,000, depending upon the music rights, the size of the orchestra, the number of rehearsals that are necessary. And even if you're charging folks to come in for a Picnic with the Pops kind of event,
It's not
you're making a
break-even.
tiny fraction of that back in ticket sales. If you did something like that indoors, not a picnic event, but indoors at Great Chapel, you're going to fit 800 to 1,100 people in there. At $20 a piece, you're still not going to cover, you're going to have to charge an exorbitant amount to cover your costs at that point. So it really necessitates corporate sponsorship, which unfortunately becomes harder and harder to get over time. As a general note, though, what Warren didn't tell you is all those grants he went through, as he mentioned, he's two-thirds of the staff in the office. He wrote all those grants. And so he is the engine that keeps this machine running.
Warren wears a lot of hats.
He does, absolutely.
So,
Love to do something like Picnic at the Pops, but, the financial setup of that whole arrangement is a whole lot different than anything that we're involved with. But on the other hand, you can come to July 4th, it doesn't cost you anything, and you can bring your own meal with you and find a place to sit down, so.
Yeah, it's a great venue.
What?
No, I think
Anything
it's
else?
Okay.
great.
Good. Yep.
Oh,
Great.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. Thank you very much. Looks
Thank
very
you.
promising.
Thank you for the time.
Yep.
What do you think about, outlets and orchestras over at
Outlet, over at the Outlet Mall.
right in the center?
It's got a ring
Oh,
to
the
it.
outlet mall.
Yeah, next to the
They'd
fountain.
make a great sponsor too, wouldn't they?
Gee.
You can do motorcycles and those are.
Yes.
Yes, Delaware Speech and Hearing. That'll work.
Extra.
Yeah, we'll just hang on to that.
Yeah, have one extra here. Okay.
So I'll just apologize up front. I have a pretty heavy cough, so I will do my best to get through this.
Good morning.
So I appreciate the words brief. Because I don't want to get, there we go. So thank you for inviting us, and thank you for giving us the opportunity. We are the Delaware Speech and Hearing Center.
It's being recorded, so if you can introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry. My name is Bethany Moore. I'm the Executive Director at the Delaware Speech and Hearing Center.
Great.
And we envision a community where everyone communicates effectively. We have 3 lines of business. The first one is audiology and hearing aids. And in that line of business, we serve mostly the geriatric population. And when I say geriatric, I mean 55 and older. We also have a new service, a new line of business, occupational therapy, that we started just last fall, September 2016. We chose purposely to start very small with that to see if there was a need, and there is definitely a need in Delaware County. We have a waiting list already, so I'll talk with you later about perhaps some enhancement to that program. The last one is speech-language pathology, where we serve mostly children. So we do serve, there's a couple pictures of our clients. Young children, when I say young, about 16 months. Well, actually newborns. We test hearing for newborns, but then we'll serve them for speech pathology starting about 16 months, going all the way up. We just served a 97-year-old last week who was getting her 4th set of hearing aids. So what makes us different when you look at other speech pathology providers or audiology providers, we're nonprofit. We're mission-based in that we follow our mission closely. We try not to have a waiting list. In fact, we never want to have a waiting list because if people request our services, we want them to get them because they need them. We accept all insurances, so that means we accept all Medicaid. We are the only clinic right now that is accepting Medicaid in Delaware County. That 2 other hospitals accept Medicaid, but no other freestanding clinics accept Medicaid. We also are able to offer a sliding fee scale, so when parents aren't, or when families or patients aren't available to pay, then we have some funds set aside that can pay for those services. That goes with that mission-based part. We're also, every person or every patient that comes in receives individualized services. We don't have a canned way of doing things, but all of those services are also very evidence-based, very research-based, and we have a number of seasoned clinicians. When I say seasoned, I mean mature people that have been doing it a very long time. We are one of only 4 left in Ohio with speech and hearing centers, along with Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland. Delaware is the 4th one. Many of them have been closing their doors or being assumed into the hospital. So Toledo just closed 2 years ago. Youngstown closed about a year ago. So those are also all bigger cities. So we do take pride that we're in a smaller community providing high level of service in this model, in this business model. There are 27 nationwide, so we're in a pretty small group left. A couple of facts about us. We were founded in 1959 in Delaware County, so we've been around almost 60 years. Another interesting fact is that about 10% of the population has some sort of communication or sensory disorder where they could use our services. Part of that is that 1 in 68 children, or 1 in 68 people have autism. There's actually something recently released that took that number to about 1 in 48. Even though that's not been accepted by the CDC, that's a number that is in the research that's being used as well. So there's more and more children with autism. Speech-language pathologists and occupational therapists are a key part of that team. We serve about 5,000 clients a year, and about 80% of those clients are from Delaware County. We serve a number from Marion, because they really don't have many services there. We serve a number from Morrow County as well, and then some from Franklin. We do have offices in Delaware City as well as in Powell. We own our building here in Delaware. We rent in Powell. We accept patients regardless of their ability to pay. So if the family can't find a way to pay, we're going to help them find a way to pay, or we're going to offer our services without pay. We do have 2 key funding partners. We were funded by the United Way of Delaware County, specifically for speech-language pathology, and we're funded by SourcePoint, specifically for audiology and hearing aids. Our near-term goals are to continue to grow. We've really been growing the past few years, but we're really at a tipping point where we either really need to go for it and really grow more, or stay where we are and begin a real serious wait list. We're really at that tipping point. We're also at the point of needing some minor facility upgrades. Nothing major. I mean, the facility's in good shape, but we need some minor cosmetic upgrades. And we also need to really look at our occupational therapy program and start to really define that and either go for it and expand it, or keep it like it is, or let it go away. So I request, and this is in priority order, because reimbursement is low and we can't always cover all of our services, even minor purchases like this, a couple $1,000s, we don't have that kind of money sitting around. We do need new lobby chairs, something like this. These cost $60 each. We need them in our lobby here. We need them in all of our therapy rooms. We need them in Powell. It's a total of about 24 chairs. So that's $1,440. Yes, it seems simple, but we need them. Right now we have mismatched. They're cloth, so they can't be cleaned. We need better facility chairs. Other thing we need is stair treads going up and down in our Delaware office. Those are $85 each. We have 15 stairs. So that's that cost. That's to help with safety, so people don't skid when they're coming in. The next one is, in priority, is occupational therapy personnel. So this is for 3 hours a week. for 12 weeks, and that's so they can do evaluations and new referrals. The payment source for that is very poor, but in order to build our caseload, we need to pay for their time so they can evaluate more clients. The next thing is occupational therapy supplies. So when I say supplies, they use a lot of big pieces of equipment. Swings, we do have 2 swings, but one is breaking, so swings that hang from the ceiling in our therapy rooms, one is breaking and needs replaced. Big pads, gymnastic pads, that all costs money. So that's where that figure is. Hardwood floors downstairs and upstairs in our lobbies to help with just modernizing the place and also to help with wheelchairs. That costs $4,500. And because we're at the point of busting at the seams, we'd like an on-site storage unit out in the back, which costs $3,900. So that's our list. What questions do you have for me?
What percentage of your customers come outside the county?
About 20%.
Do you have any offices outside the county?
We do not.
Why do you think the number of independent clinics is shrinking? I mean, why are the clinics joining hospitals?
Reimbursement through insurance, so that's our number one source of funds, is higher in a hospital than it is in a freestanding community clinic. Because we consider ourselves healthcare and medical, we're certainly part of that arena, but in a hospital, they get about 2/3 more than we do, because they're in a hospital and it's ordered by a physician. It's not that it's a different service, it's the location of service.
It's a different employer or different...
Location. In a hospital versus in a room.
What's your total revenue in a year?
Our budget's about $1.4 million.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't realize it was quite that big.
So we're zero-based, so we set a budget at $1.4 million, and we strive to hit that, and that's only the amount we spend. We
Do you
never.
have debt? Do you have any debt?
Our debt is our building, but we're paying that down.
So you've got a mortgage on the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're paying that down.
Okay.
We only have 7 years left, so we're close to owning 100%. So we're in very good financial condition, but just at the point where we need to make some enhancements to the facility and just don't have that kind of money sitting around, and enhancements to the program.
Okay.
Devil's advocate, you also are in a business that is for-profit hearing places. Us providing you money somewhat puts them at a disadvantage. I'm curious how you'd comment on that.
Well, it doesn't put us at a disadvantage. I guess they would say that, though. Because they're a for-profit, they charge more, and they don't accept Medicaid. Medicaid is the lowest reimburser of services. About 55% of our revenue is from Medicaid. They have chosen not to accept Medicaid, so that's their choice, but you don't make money when you accept Medicaid. There are a lot of rules that come with it, a lot of paperwork, and you don't make money. So that's why we're at the point that we need to grow.
They don't accept charity cases.
Right.
Or
Sliding fee scale.
cases.
Right.
Funding sources, you said,
Insurance is our number one.
okay.
So all insurances, so I group all those together. Some private pay, so if their insurance doesn't pay for the service, or they have a deductible, they may have to pay out of their pocket to start. Delaware County Board of DD is another big funder, but that's really an insurance, so we could group it in there. So, the kids come with that source. We depend on grants.
In grants, okay.
Some contributions, not very many, but definitely fee-for-service is the number one.
Okay,
And that's insurance, private pay,
okay.
workers' comp, which
Okay.
is sort of an insurance. Anything, it's fee for the service provided.
Sure. Okay, thank you. I've been to the building.
All right. think that's all of the questions
Okay.
we've got for you.
All right.
And we thank you
Great.
for coming. All
All right, thank you.
right.
Thank you. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, get over that cough.
Yeah, boy.
All right. Next is Sandy, Delaware County Fair. She's actually got a multimedia
Oh, my
presentation.
gosh, yes. Yeah. No problem.
Hey, Brent.
Pretty much on schedule.
Yeah. You got surprised. No pressure, Sarah. We're all looking at you.
Okay, Fazan.
Okay, my name is Sandy Kuhn. I am representing the Delaware County Agricultural Society, Delaware County Fair. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation to come to present today and for your funding in the past for the Operation Forever Grateful Dinner. It is my understanding, as you all know, I wasn't around for the 2011 fair up here. Last year was my first. But it's my understanding that in 2011, some of the office staff at the Delaware County Fair decided that they should have some kind of veterans dinner as part of the fair. So they solicited some help from Harold Wolford, who was on the board then, to help with it, as he is a veteran. And in turn, they came up with the Operation Forever Grateful Veterans Dinner, and it was held in conjunction with the Delaware County Fair. And the theme was honoring those who have kept us free. And at that point, in 2011, they had about 150 in attendance. And over time, the dinner has become a partnership between the fair, the county commissioners the last few years through grant funding, and the veterans groups in Delaware County. Okay? Here's some pictures, because in my world, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And these are the 2014 dinner. Operation Forever Grateful was started as a way to say thank you to all active and veterans of the military. The dinner is held in conjunction with Veterans Day, which is the Friday of the fair, where all veterans are allowed to come to the fair for free that day with a military ID. The dinner is held that evening in the tent up on Pavilion Hill. Veterans and current actives from all branches of the military are invited to attend the dinner. The Delaware County Veterans Services and the Vietnam Veterans Group are the ways that we announce the dinner and get the word out, as well as we try to get it in the newspaper through a press release and let veterans know that they can come in, fill out a very simple form that takes probably about 3 to 5 minutes to fill out, give us a picture of their veterans card or military ID, and then in turn what we'll do is mail them 2 tickets. Them and a guest can attend the dinner for free on that Friday night. It also enables them to come to the fair for free, too, because we hope they'll come and enjoy some fair time, as well as go up and enjoy a great dinner on the hill. Last year, they had about 500 people attend the dinner. Most of you were probably there as part of that. Okay. Shortly, another piece of it that's evolved over the last 4 years is the quilting group that runs the quilt show at the fair has started, it's called the Valor Quilt Class. Anyone who enters that class knows that they are going to be donating their quilt that they've entered and all the time and talent and probably pinpricks that go with that to a veteran that night. Here's a couple of pictures of ladies presenting. These would be the quilters, and they get the opportunity to come and actually present those quilts that night to a veteran. So pretty exciting. And talked to Sandy Lewis, because I didn't know the history behind it, so I talked to her a little bit about it today, and she's actually on the left-hand side there presenting a quilt. And she's like, be sure they know how much time and talent goes into those quilts. And I'm like, I have a couple of quilts, and I didn't make them, but I do get that. So last year, 11 quilts were donated. And again, it's pretty exciting, and it's really neat for those people to be chosen. In honor of, typically it's a Medal of Valor. If somebody has won a Medal of Valor in the last year, they donate to them first, and then it goes to either Purple Heart, Gold Star, Silver Star, or Bronze Star, people who have received those. And it's kind of anyone who is eligible beyond, they do the Medal of Valor. Beyond that, they're kind of put into drawing, and they're drawn out, and they're presented that night with one of the handmade quilts. So pretty exciting and pretty neat thing. So the last one is kind of that cost that's associated and why I'm here. It has grown from 150 to approximately 500 or more people. So what we're looking at, the cost of the dinner is $10 a person, and part of that, it's a discounted rate from Hal Clace up at All Occasions Catering. So he gives us a deal on the dinner, approximately attendance for 600 people. I'm trying to bump that up a little bit, get a little more press out, and get some more people there. And so we're asking for $6,000 of the Community Enhancement Grant funds to be done. Any money not used for food, and this is what we're totally looking at this bill for, is food, would be either we can do a multitude of things. We can either buy some door prizes, we could give a commemorative item, a pen, a cup, something they had to take with them in honor of the dinner, or we could hold that funds for the following year. And we are going to try to run a pretty tight ship on numbers and to get as close as we can to the number of actual attendees and not over buy too many meals. I know the food always gets eaten, but I know typically there's a little bit of wiggle room there, so we'd like to get that as close as possible, recognizing we might have 20 to 25 walk-ins that day where they might not have known about the dinner or they could get in free, so we want to make sure and honor them too. So with that, any questions?
Made a comment about if there's any excess holdover for next year. I feel uncomfortable with that.
Okay.
I don't think, I think anything should be returned back to the county.
Okay, we can surely do that.
And then make a new request the following year. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. I know that that's kind of a questionable, yep, I know that that can be questionable in doing that, so.
I just feel uncomfortable if it...
Absolutely.
I think I've gone every year. You said 2011. I thought I went the first year, and I wouldn't have gone that early, so maybe I missed a year or two. But it's always well attended. Commissioner Lewis and I, we were there 2 years ago when the sound system wasn't very good. But I believe it was better last year.
It was, yes.
We got a new sound guy last year, so maybe that helped.
It's a great feel-good event. It's a great way to honor the veterans, and I think the county would be very pleased to be. One of the things I wish I said this morning, because some of these events are certainly appropriate, that the county gets credit for them. The taxpayers in our county should be given credit for the things that we participate in. I wish I had posed that this morning, because some of the, not all of them are appropriate, but where they are, we should make sure we encourage that, whoever and whatever we get to, in my opinion. Great event. I think it's worthy of support. Obviously, how much will be determined, but I think you've done it. You only yelled for the quilt one time because it seems like you're doing fewer quilts, and I guess the first year or two there'll be a lot more veterans who had not received a quill, or is
I
that?
think that they can only receive one.
Right.
Now, they could be eligible multiple years if they don't receive it and they receive one of those awards. So, yeah, they can put their name back in the hat for that. So, yeah.
And I believe, isn't Mayor Carolyn Kay?
Yeah, we actually have a committee, yes, that Carolyn's the chair of, but she's in Japan right now. So she asked me to come and present on her behalf. So, and we have asked the Veteran Services if they would like to have somebody on it. We've asked the Vietnam Veterans Group to have somebody on the committee too, because again, they serve as our resource to get the word out there about the dinner and publicize it. So yeah, it will be, I think we're going to have probably 6 to 8 people on that committee to coordinate it.
Any improvements you think that can be made? I know that, the sound system is going to be even better.
Sound system. It would be, I think, and I know Harold's talked about this before, doing some kind of commemorative pin or something that the people can take with them to say, hey, I have something to say, so maybe a little lapel pin, something that they attended the dinner. And it may just be for the veterans. Again, a little something for them extra. It is fun when they come in, and once they've gotten the advertisement, a lot of them will bring their sheets in to drop them off with their ID, and it is fun, and they do truly appreciate it and like that feeling of feeling special that night, which they should feel special.
It's a very popular event. It was very crowded last year.
Yeah, too.
More crowded. 2014,
the pictures from there weren't any big pictures from last year, but those pictures, I was like, wow, it just looks like a very beautiful, very nice, and the Hill is a beautiful setting for any dinner or event.
Yeah. I didn't really have any other questions or comments. Are you coordinating with, because the Vietnam Veterans Group is on is presenting our session later on.
They do know that we were coming to present. I did talk to Harold.
Okay, so I didn't know if there was any
Harold had
overlap
met
or-
with them and talked with them. I'm not sure what they're presenting. He does know that we were going to present for this money.
Okay, good.
So.
I want to make sure we coordinate, because I know they're very involved, and
Yes,
Harold really runs the...
yeah, and Harold knows, and we talked to him, and
They're aware that you're presenting on behalf of the veterans for this event?
yes, for the dinner, yep. Yeah.
I do think it's important that our Veterans Services Department get some credit, and recognition there as far as the services that are offered for vets, and so often people don't know all the services that are offered, and then they add services, and whether it's Don DeShazo that does that presentation, but someone, or maybe someone from their board.
Absolutely, we can, I wrote that down. I think there's an opportunity for somebody to say a few words on what are those veteran services.
Yes.
To make sure, again, that they're all aware of them, because, like you said, they probably add some that maybe some
Right.
people aren't aware of. So I think that can be part of that program that we design and have somebody talk about, as well as one of you. I think just to say a few words on behalf of the county, if it does get funded, to say the importance of it and why you're there and part of it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. Next up, the Historical Society.
Thank you.
I'm going to make one of your walks this summer, Brent.
Thank
I
you.
am. You're doing an Oak Grove one, aren't you? That was the one I was targeting.
This year, we will be reenacting as part of that walk.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. All right, turn it over.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Donna Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Delaware County Historical Society. I think I know all you folks. We've come today with several requests. The first one in your packet is for the Meeker Homestead Museum. As you know, the barn dates to 1848, the house dates to 1823. Our first exhibit is this Sunday. We have an exhibit, a display on early streetcars, including the interurban. So please feel free to come to that. Our museum is still free, though we do ask for donations. So we are in need of display pedestals, signage, story wall panels, lights, that type of thing to really enhance the museum. We were able to get air conditioning installed in the upper 2 rooms of the house, because before that, we were not able to have that open it for a display. I would give people tours, and as soon as they hit the top of the stairs, the heat would hit them in the face like a blast furnace. So we were able to do that. Our research library, we need some additional supplies for that, and I do have a handout on one piece of equipment that we want to purchase. It's called the Scan Pro 2200 microfilm and microfiche reader, including a computer to support that. We also are asking for funding again to digitize the Delaware Daily Journal Herald and digitization of city and county directories, and of course that always brings show and tell.
Oh, my.
That you guys paid for the digitization of that last year. Here's 2 more city directories that we're requesting funding for.
You know, we feel that these directories are so important to preserve, whether it's people doing research on history, whether it's students, people doing genealogy research, the digitization of the directories means that the public can now access them from anywhere just by getting online. A key feature of the digital collection is the keyword search capability. So like I think last year we bought a newspaper that Jeff had a great encore or something in the newspaper, which I didn't plan, but it was kind of cool. So if you were looking for, like Benton furniture or whatever, you'd plug it in and it would come up with all the ads and all the information about that.
Ben Benton, my grandfather.
Is it in there?
Yeah.
I didn't plan it, I
You probably knew
swear.
my grandfather, Brent. You probably knew.
My gosh.
Ben Benton. There's a bunch of us around.
So how cool would that be for you guys to be able to research that and not have to come down, find out when we're open, pull these out of dusty shelves, just do it from your home.
1897.
Isn't that
A lot of
unbelievable?
people here then.
There were.
Gee.
Brent has an 1903 Delaware Daily Journal.
Oh, wow.
What year is that?
1903.
Wow.
So, what's been amazing by looking at these old newspapers is how much the ads for products and, like snake oil type things are part of the newspaper. You have to read it to realize this isn't an article.
Weak, nervous, diseased men.
Nervous disease. Oh, my God.
Ringers that ring.
Oh, gee.
So this Delaware Daily Journal newspaper was formed by the merger of 2 other newspapers and was published between 1902 and 1929. And last year, you folks approved digitizing several years of this newspaper as well. So on the 3rd page is we are requesting some funds to improve the structure of the barn. Because of the age of the barn and all the changes that have been made to the barn, there are some issues there. We want to preserve, we want to renovate the barn. We're not sure how much it's going to take in its entirety, but we want to get started on that right away. You can see one of the pictures up here on the right-hand side. That's a beam in the loft that has split. The last page of your packet, I just kind of threw that in there because I thought you guys should really see all the educational events that we have done. This is over the past year.
Something interesting.
Yeah.
We have reached out to almost 3,500 people, of which most of these Brent has done himself. I'm going to let Brent get up and talk a little bit because he's the fun. I'm the boring person. He's the fun person.
I apologize for not coming more dressed up. I was in school all day. I was with college students this morning, and then I went to kindergartners. And then I ended up the day with high school, up at the high school. And so we do try to cover the broad range of students and throughout the county. We have an education support committee now of 14 members, and plus others who, these are former teachers or educators from throughout the county who have really gotten active in trying to reach out to the schools, as our main goal is to preserve and to educate. And so the education part we've really gotten involved with in the last year. Underground Railroad is one of our big projects right now, but we have others as well. So I didn't come prepared to speak anymore, but...
You prepared to can be funny today, apparently?
I'm sorry?
You said you're going to be funny. I waited for the...
Well,
I'm prepared to be funny today.
I'll introduce my babysitter here.
He always says that about me. He's just a couple years older than me. The Underground Railroad program was a huge success. This was the culmination of a couple years of work and dedication by, as Brent mentioned, our curriculum committee. These are retired teachers and librarians who still love to teach. They don't have to get up at 6 in the morning anymore. We had several hundred kids came in through the barn, came in through the house, because the records that we have seen show that the house was on the Underground Railroad. We had one of our former teachers, Lori Schaefer, dressed up in costume, and she portrayed Mrs. Meeker, and she really got into it. So in addition to teaching the kids about the Underground Railroad, we teach them about farming practices, because that property was 624 acres. So to have kids think about what that meant, farming without tractors and, modern equipment, that type of thing, is something I think that all school children should learn about. We talked about the house. We talked about how they lived with 7 children and in 2 rooms until they built on in 1830. And it's stuff kids do not realize what it was like, and I think it's really important to preserve that history. Sometimes kids don't even know about farming today.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So we're really proud of that program. We received a lot of press for that. This is a program that we will be taking into schools, that schools are contacting us to do this program. A couple of the programs that we've done this year, we did a program on the blizzard of 1978. We had tons of people. We had 145 people in for the Underground Railroad program that we did for adults back in February. Then we just did a program with Abraham Lincoln, who was John Cooper. He's the guy that's at the fair, and he is Abraham Lincoln. Mm-hmm. We had 80 people come, including 17 kids, and he just kind of talked about politics, a lot of the Civil War and the Civil War generals from Ohio, and then people asking questions. So sometimes these events, it's like a little mini class reunion, or people don't want to leave at the end of the program. They just want to stand around and talk, and I'm like, I'm tired, folks, so you have to flip on the lights. So we are requesting funding. We realize it's more than we have ever asked for before, but our needs are greater.
As far as your priorities, I guess.
Our priorities would have to be repairing and renovating the barn, because we feel this is such an important structure. We need to be sure that it's around for another 160 years.
Uh-huh.
Barn first, because Mr. Lewis asked the question I would have asked, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think barn first.
Okay, second?
I would say the museum. And the reason I put the barn first is because the money that we make with the venue supports the entire organization. We have weddings scheduled almost every weekend for the rest of the year, which is really cool. Garth is still in there renting from us. They say they will be out after the end of the year. They have a place in Columbus that they're renovating, so that is an additional income loss for us. The Meeker Museum, I think, is second, just because that's educational.
Are you charging enough for the weddings to be a profit center, or just...
cover your cost, or how you look at that?
We are not breaking even this year, and we knew that we wouldn't, because my salary is so exorbitant. No, it really isn't. We knew that there would be a deficit, partly because there are certain weekends that we're not able to book weddings just because Garce is in there. But next year, according to our business plan, we will break even, and after that, make a profit. We are doing improvements to the grounds, and we think that that will garner a little bit higher costs than what we have been charging in the past.
I see, and I probably should know what it is, but I don't. There's some development going on north of you.
Correct.
Is that going to threaten the work you're doing, or is it going to be compatible, or do you?
No, the person that's doing that, developer, her name is Connie Klima. She has done a really good job. The city was very complimentary on her plans. She will break ground this summer. We're working quite closely with her. Actually, when she wants to have informational meetings, we open the barn up to her so that she can meet with the neighbors. You know, anybody has a question about what this development is going to be, she answers that. She will actually be donating about 10 truckloads of topsoil to us that we're going to create a berm, and we're going to plant it. We've been working with the city. She's required to replace the trees that have been cut down over that 80-acre swath. They came in and actually measured all the trees, the caliber. So she's required to replace those trees, and she has agreed to replace many of them on our property. So we're excited about that. The berm that we want to do is between the stream and 23, because 23, frankly, is really, really noisy. We've had some ODOT people that have come out and looked at it and made suggestions as well. But when we have outdoor events and the bride and the bride's mom and dad comes out, they look at the property, it's beautiful, and the grass is wonderful, and then they hear all the noise and the craziness from 23, and they're like, I don't think so. So we've lost some business because of that. So we're excited, and next year we hope everything will be up and growing, and it'll really create a nice barrier there.
Other questions?
Questions on your volunteers, and you named some different committees. What other committees do you have, and how many volunteers?
Wow. We have so many committees. That's probably our busiest committee. We have people we have resource creation, which is also an important one. That committee is co-chaired by George Needham, director of the library, who's on our board, and also Debbie Martin. Though she's in Florida 6 months out of the year.
She's at Rotary today.
She's what?
She's back.
Oh, she's back. I thought she was coming back about the 15th. So between she and George, they're really, planning a lot of income-creating events. We have a finance committee. We have venue committee.
IT.
Oh, yeah, IT committee. We probably have 18 to 20 committees, and when I show people our organizational chart, they can't believe it.
Wow, okay. Any guess on how many volunteers total?
I would guess that we would have certainly probably between 80 and 100 regular volunteers.
Okay.
I know I was we were at a conference, and one of the people from one of the other counties was there and mentioned how many committees they had, and they said, we don't have any volunteers. Well enough. So you've come a long way, and I think other counties are quite envious of our position of our growth in the last year.
That's great.
Our curriculum committee won an award for creating a tote bag, much like this, and it's full of educational materials that we're taking out into schools. They won an award, a statewide award, and so they did a presentation at a workshop in, where was that? Fairfield County? Lancaster?
Yes.
And so many people came up to us and said, this is such a wonderful program, we want to get this in our schools as well. So it's been very well received.
I can say that just as an example, last Wednesday, I think it was, we had 16 volunteers working at the same 8 in the morning and I think 9 in the afternoon. And they were different volunteers. And we are in a unique position where we have, I think, 5 or 6 computers, and they're all taken. We're sometimes on top of each other with as many volunteers as we have.
And these are people who are archiving different artifacts that we have, documents, such as this type of thing. We have tens of thousands of items that have already been documented and put online, so anybody can look at them. I want a picture of the old Deer Lick Dairy, whatever, then you can find a picture of it. Gary and Barb don't know what we're talking about, do they, Deb?
There many a time. Had many an ice cream sundae there.
It was probably 35 cents, wasn't it?
They're looking for ice cream sundae.
Do you have any questions?
I don't have any more.
No, thank you, though.
We
thank
appreciate
you.
your support.
Thank you very much.
And Barb is coming to talk at our volunteer appreciation event, so we're excited about that.
Good, appreciate all that you do.
Yes.
Doing all the good stuff.
Absolutely.
Have this back.
Yeah.
Oh,
those are
gosh.
cool.
Aren't they cool to look at?
They
Yeah,
really are.
very-
That's just amazing. Thank you.
Which one, what do you want? Which, this?
The one that's in money.
Where was the store? Sandusky Street. One more. One more? Was the store on Sandusky Street?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
was that the one that your dad?
Clancy's. Was
Different than the furniture store? Thank you. Is that the
That was the furniture store.
Oh, okay, Clancy's, okay.
Wow. Very annoying.
Gee. Gosh.
All right, Susie?
This?
Got it. And here's one extra on the
Sorry, this one's extra.
page and a half.
Good afternoon. Thanks for allowing me to come in today and give a quick presentation. Main Street Delaware has definitely appreciated your support in the past, and wanted to bring forward today a new idea that we have as we move forward as an organization. As you remember, I was here back in January and gave you an overview of Main Street and its programs, and our mission is to give people a vibrant downtown experience, and we do that through the 4-point approach, through our promotion, design, business enhancement, and organization. And we do that through partnering with the city and the county leadership to provide these programs and resources to our community throughout our historic downtown, things like the Farmers Market and First Fridays. In my short time of being the executive director in 6 months, I've been out speaking to the business owners. I know, time's flown. And what I've learned is that their biggest need as a small business owner in our community is they need help with marketing and advertising. A lot of them do not have the budget, and a lot of them kind of just spin their wheels and kind of do different things that aren't really making a big impact. And so today I come to you with a new idea. Research, the Nielsen Company Audience Report reveals that adults in the United States devoted about 10 hours and 39 minutes each day consuming media, according to the first quarter this year, and that's through CNN website. And so our goals is we want to, as a Main Street organization, we want to provide the downtown businesses opportunities to increase their visibility in the community. And we help with that through our Merchants and Mimosas, networking opportunities. We act as a communication portal, so information comes to us and we send it out to our business owners
in the downtown area that it will directly affect. And then we'd like to do that through a smartphone application and through a new website. It would be basically taking and transforming our current website from a basic brochure to a full-fledged content portal, and it will not only reach our community here in Delaware, but beyond the borders. So we're really excited about that. The benefits, I think, we'll see pretty much right away. We will be able to better promote our downtown businesses and drive economic growth to our community, increase online marketing presence, and generate more revenue for the downtown and promote our brand. Our new website features will, there's a lot of them, but we'll have the WordPress content management, which is basically user-friendly, that I'll be able to go in and make updates as needed. It'll be mobile-friendly because a lot of people are looking at websites via cell phones and iPads and tablets. It will also be custom-themed design and be able to do the e-commerce storefront so people can go on our website directly and purchase tickets to different events and what have you.
Can the merchants actually sell their stuff then?
I mean, I think eventually maybe that could be a possibility, but more so around like our farmers market, and if people want to buy space or and things like that for our vendors. Our new website will have a business directory listing all the downtown businesses. It will offer image galleries, an overview of the business, contact information, social media links, and so much more. It will also have a calendar system. Actually, it can import through social media like Facebook, which most of our downtown businesses have Facebook. They don't necessarily have websites currently. So when they update their Facebook page, it can automatically come to our website, and you can see everything happening in all the downtown businesses in one space, which is our website. It will have the Google Calendar imports. I mentioned the payment and ticketing capabilities. People will be able to search for an event by month, by week, by day, by venue, and by category. We'll also be able to feature blogs, so different announcements that maybe the Gazette has, or news releases, community events, business employee spotlights, educational information can be found on one website. We'll have a photo gallery, so we can upload photos of like the downtown businesses, indoors and outdoors. Maybe the business owner, they can highlight different customers or their employees. We'll also integrate Google Maps, so people can just click on a business and they can get directions to it. And then we'll offer the email contact forms as well. It will be search engine friendly. So again, if people want to go to a specific business, they can gain access to their website and receive directions to the store, as I mentioned. And then one of the coolest things is the Google Analytics. We will be able to track where people are coming from through our website. As they search, come to our website, we can say what part of the community they're coming from, if they're coming from inside Delaware County or outside, and we'll be able to track the effectiveness and be able to tweak our audience. So if we want to pull from other counties, we can kind of go in and tweak that and make sure that the specific different audiences can see and be drawn to our website. So in summary, a new powerful website will improve Main Street Delaware's initiatives, but it will also benefit the local businesses in the Delaware County community. It will provide a valuable resource to small businesses and improve communication in the community. We can expand our visibility and reach. As you saw, what the investment, what the quote was that I received from a local web designer, I think you'll see that money come back in tenfold because of the visibility that our businesses will have and the reach that we'll have. I think it won't take long to see that reap our benefits through this one website. Do you have any questions?
I'm going to play devil's advocate with you. They'd love to hear me say this. I think it's a great idea. I just don't know that it's fully the responsibility of the county to support the website. You could think the merchants who are going to benefit from this site ought to have a role and have a financial role in it. I don't, just feel a little uncomfortable. So how do you address that?
I believe, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. That will answer your question. I have a handout here, if I can give it to you, about the maintenance of our website. And there's a $99 a month fee that goes with the hosting and kind of behind the scenes of our website. And my idea is to take a percentage of the businesses downtown. A percentage of that membership will go toward the maintenance and ongoing things that we'll need for our website. So, and they will be supporting it in a small way.
So they would just support it on a monthly basis, paying $99?
Through their current membership? Through their current membership
Yes.
or additional?
Through their current, well, currently we have about 60 downtown businesses that are members of Main Street Delaware, and we have the potential to grow that probably double. We have 110 businesses that I am in communication with on a monthly basis, so there's a lot of potential to grow our membership, and this is a good benefit that Main Street can provide that would make people want to join, I think, the Main Street organization, but a percentage of that, of their membership fee, will go toward the maintenance of the website.
Today?
Yes. It's, as I mentioned earlier, it's just pretty basic brochure type website, not very interactive, and has lists of different businesses, but again, it's just kind of not not very effective in its current state.
What are your dues currently?
We have members there's different levels of membership. So we have some members that join at $125, and then they can go all the way up to $1,000. I don't have any $1,000 members currently. But again, I think when I came in and I was looking through the benefits of being a Main Street member, and through the conversations of knowing what the needs are as a business owner downtown, it is that marketing and advertising piece, which is why I would like this project to be supported, because then it's a good way to become a member, and it will help not only it will help the businesses grow as well as our organization, of course.
Do you have a specific vendor in mind?
Yes, I do.
And you've gotten that price from?
Yes, and it's a local company.
Uh-huh.
That is the full price of the website, including installation. How is the city of Delaware helping in your efforts this coming year?
They currently give us a grant. We apply every year, and their current financial contribution is $17,500.
17.5?
are a list of different things on a quarterly basis that I have to do to maintain that grant.
I think having a vibrant downtown in the county seat is important. I understand Commissioner Merrill's concerns, but again, I think, and Main Street Delaware is a significant driving force of the downtown Delaware's vibrancy, which is very good. We could always do better, but it is really a very strong downtown.
Yes, it is.
And there's a lot going on, a lot more stuff coming, so again, I think it's a good idea to support, the downtown.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Thanks.
Well, I understand, my concern is not, I'm not supportive, I think I've been very supportive of Main Street over the years.
Yeah.
It is a little frustrating, and you don't have to comment, but I'm sure it's frustrating to a number of people. It's sometimes difficult to get people to support the marketing efforts because they don't see it. It's kind of subjective. It's not something they can't quantify. But if not this year, in some time frame, the question I ask needs to get addressed. Everybody should have a buy-in if they're going to be part of that community. It shouldn't be outsiders having to continually provide stuff they should be doing for themselves. That sounds like a sermon, a lecture. I don't mean it that way. But every other downtown area, Powell, could argue the same thing. You're going to do it for Delaware, Main Street. Why won't you do it for us? And but I do know we're housed here. This is a special place, being the county seat, and but it just needs to get addressed over time. And I think you will try to do everything in your power to do that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I will say that I feel like there's a new vibe going on downtown, and I do think that some of the folks who have kind of sat on the sidelines and haven't been involved at the level that they should be, I think we're turning the page on that, and there's been a lot more of excitement and people willing to work with us. So.
And I haven't thought this out, but there may be something on the website you get if you contribute more. So there's more of a value to somebody who's willing to put a little more into it. Basic, I'm downtown, I'm going to have my name there, but that may be a way that you can generate some money for this and for other things. So
absolutely.
And I trust you'll use your marketing skills and recruiting skills to get more and more businesses.
Absolutely. I want to make sure I'm comfortable with what we're selling, if you will. And so that's where I think this is kind of the answer to all of those concerns. So. I do have, before I leave today, I'll hand you just kind of what I mentioned about the maintenance of the website and businesses, part of their membership, helping with that.
And you do have money in your fund for maintenance?
Yes.
Because it's not out there, and we talked about this earlier, and you don't maintain it.
Yes.
Very soon, it's a waste of everybody's time.
Yes.
Okay. Other questions?
No.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susie.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're only 5 minutes behind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Break?
No.
Gary, any break?
I'm good if you're good.
Okay, we'll keep going. All right. Next up, people in need. Kevin, are you the presenter today?
I guess I am.
All right.
That's okay. We do have a couple of handouts, make it easier to follow along. I appreciate the opportunity to come here today. I always feel honored to be in this room.
Thanks, Randy.
You've been here before, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Even when this was the library.
Even when it was the library, right?
You remember the library?
Say that.
Yeah.
You remember the library, Kevin?
Yes, sir, I do.
Oh, okay.
I studied a lot in here. I met John Kasich came here one time when he was
Oh, really?
a representative, and he would just entertain conversations with people about anything that was on our mind, and met right in this library room.
Interesting.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? So if he becomes the president someday, I can say I met a president.
That's right, yeah.
So he's probably the biggest big shot I've ever met and shook hands with, so it's a long time ago. But you've got my handout there, so I'll try and make this quick. I imagine it's been probably a fairly long day today. Again, this is about 5 years ago, our board got together and decided that they wanted me to develop and implement some kind of a policy of cost savings using green initiatives. And in that time, in the last 5 years, this is just going to be the next step in what I'm looking for, and I'd really like to purchase a machine that's going to help us with some of the cardboard, which is we're swimming in at this point. Just move forward a little bit, Randy. This is just some of the things real quick to date, some of the things that we have done to try to eliminate and cut costs, because, as you know, funding is tough from every venue. We just had a completely grant-funded project to replace all of the lighting in our building, inside and out. Went from the old xenon light bulbs with the high bays. We now have a total redo. We're saving about $230 a month in electricity, and that was about a $12,000 grant that a couple of groups, AEP matched to the Sabatino Fund through the Delaware Foundation, and they retrofitted every single thing in there to where we're saving right now just about $200 a month just on electricity from this initiative, and this is just one of many. You know, the other thing, too, back that up real quick. With this lighting the way it is now, we have zone lighting, so now I don't have to have every light on in the building. We can zone that.
So what was the total cost?
Pardon?
What was the total cost of the...
Right around $12,000, I believe. Is that close? Yeah, right around there. And it was matched 50-50 and paid for...
Payback's 4 years then.
It would have been. But again, we didn't pay a penny, and that's saving us now about the $200 a month on that. And with the zone lighting, we're able to not have to run every light in the warehouse, and they did the offices, the bathrooms, the hallways, they did everything. Okay, go ahead. We just had to replace our heating system. Now, the heating system that was in there was used when it was brought into that building. We bought the building in 2008, and it was 8 years old, used when it went in there. We had to break down and actually purchase something new, and as part of the cost saving that the board has implemented me to do was everything has to be an upgrade. Everything has to be Energy Star or the Compliance Act with the utilities. We've got a programmable thermostat with that. We're saving right now about 20% on that, and I just calculated this today, comparing over a 12-month period. Just, and I talked to our installer, we're saving, it doesn't seem like much, but it's $1.64 a day in electricity just on this unit in addition. So it's just one more little thing, and the programmable thermostat has helped us with that. Go ahead. Again, it's the Energy Independence and Security Act that we're compliant with everything. Every purchase that we make is an Energy Star. Keep going. Oh, that's the one you bought for us last year. That's Energy Star. We've served 12,600 folks out of that from last year. So, you know, it's a piece of equipment that is on and on. Okay, I'm drifting here. Currently, we recycle everything: paper, office shred, glass, metal, plastic. We recycle the paper and the office shred out to Price Barnes, and then they give us a discount every spring when we get the mulch for the Nancy Frankenberg garden that we do. So we get a little discount out of that for that. Okay, but this is the piece of equipment that I'm asking you about today. So what I did is I started on 313 and I went to 413 because that's when I got the letter asking that if I could come here. We generated 1,108 pounds of cardboard, but, you know, it's not so much the cardboard. We have 10 staff hours and 27 and a quarter volunteer hours. I've driven that cardboard 84 miles, and this is in the last 30 days. Historically, March and February are our slowest months, and those 10 hours are mine. And you can see how we generate that. This was just a cardboard at the last produce market that we had, and when I looked at that, and I added some of that up, just to give you some idea here with that produce market, we ended up with, we donated at that produce market, we had 11,000 plus pounds of produce that we distributed to 292 individuals in about a 2.5-hour period on that day. What that ended up doing, last fiscal year we did 9 of these events. We produced a little bit more than 88,000 pounds of produce that we were able to deliver with that. That all comes in cardboard that we have to actually manipulate and deal with. In the previous fiscal year, which is the last full year that I have, in addition to the 88,000 plus pounds of produce that came to us, we had 22,600 pounds of bakery, 30,900 pounds of perishables, and 80,000 pounds worth of non-perishable, and most of that all comes in cardboard that we have to actually deal with. On that one that we had with the produce market there, just the cardboard alone, that took 2 staff and 4 volunteers 8.5 man-hours to process that day. The next day, it took 1 staff and 1 volunteer an hour and a half and 14 miles just to get rid of the cardboard from that day. We can only haul about 70 to 100 pounds in the truck because it has to be processed before we can transport it, before we can get it to the recycle there. So, again, that's just...
You say truck, that's a pickup?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Randy. Okay. What ends up happening with us, basically, is not just the time and the energy that we spend on dealing with the cardboard, but when there's times when I can't get it to recycle, I have to pay to dump that, and that's $193 for one dumpster. And this is interesting. Go ahead, flip one more. This is we talked with Friction Metals, okay, and they have agreed to get us the best possible price for any of the recycled material that we can bring to them. Now, it averages, and the price of commodities like this fluctuates, copper, aluminum, brass, paper, all of that. It fluctuates day by day. Every day it's something different. When I first got your letter and thought, well, I'm going to ask them about the cardboard, on that day I talked to Brandon, who's the owner, and he said on that day that it fluctuates between $10 and $80 a bundle for the cardboard. On that day it was $20 is what they were buying that for. I talked to him today. He emailed me back. He's with his kids at Disney World, and the going rate today is $30. He's committed, and he's put it in a letter there, that he's going to help us obtain the best price every day. So if maybe today it's $20, but maybe next week it'll be up a little bit, he's going to work with us to always get us that best price on that. So
net to you, or is it
to us? That would be the price to us. And again, he said he would try to always get us the best possible, because he supports us in other ways throughout the year, too, Christmas and every other thing. So he's been really on board with helping us put this together. Stratford as well, they don't generate a whole lot of cardboard, but, the thing is that I had 3 flat tires bringing it to Sims, because it's where all the metal shards are, where you have to back up and throw it in. And they've had the same kind of problem, but they could bring it to us safe.
Yeah.
Go ahead again. Just, one point on that was now I take it to the fairgrounds, to the building where they have that. And again, that's 7 miles each way, but it's the time and labor of processing that so I can actually transport it. I can't use their machine out there, so I have to bring it out there, and it's right where they work on their tractors and all of their stuff. So I have to usually put it out there. Now, for the last 2 weeks that I've been bringing it out, it's all piled up into a mountain out there because I can't run their machine. They don't really have the staff to get that, and I'm always in the way. I can't bring it when it's raining. I can't bring it in the fair when there's a horse show, a dog show, a flea market. And we lost our maintenance guy. He retired, and I couldn't afford to rehire somebody. So I try to come in and do his job in the morning before I do mine. He was only a half person. So I come in at 6:30 or 7 and try and do his job before we start at 8:30. And I can't get access to the building that early in the morning to bring the stuff over. So that's, just
The
one
fair,
more.
you mean? Can't get access to
Yes,
the
ma'am,
fair.
because
When you take it to the fair, do you get any money out of that, or do
Oh,
you just
no,
donate it?
no. It just saves me having to put it in the dumpster, but, it's just, I don't make a huge salary, but, 10 of my hours just on cardboard, and I lowballed that. If I worked for 20 minutes, I only did it in 15-minute increments, and it was still about 37 and a half hours total just to deal with that. And as you can see, the price, it's a local company, OSHA approved. He would come, they would do the installation, the training, the warranty, the maintenance. It's $11,100, which is a lot of money, and,
So it would save time as well as provide you some revenue by...
revenue on, absolutely. And I tracked it in my Jeep, because I have tenths of miles on there, and from door to door, that's 1 mile. So instead of 85 miles on a slow month, it's 2 miles on the truck. I mean, we've got the forklift, we've got the truck, they have a forklift, they have a truck, they'll unload it, and probably just either credit us that or wait till we get enough, whether it be a monthly payout. And I'm thinking that we'll generate it, maybe 10, 12, maybe a little bit more throughout the year, bundles, which are the saleable. So I probably should have done the math to see what
I was going to ask you, what did you expect to get revenue-wise in a year?
Well, he said between $10 and $80. Today it was $30 per bundle. When I got the letter from your office, that even an invite to come here today, on that day it was $20. So a bundle.
How many bundles a year?
Probably one a month at least. I mean, it's...
We're talking $240, it's not a big...
Yeah, it's not a huge, it would be a long time for the payback if it was just for the revenue generated from that, but it's the, 1 or 2 extra dumpsters a year.
So how's this work? You're going to get the cardboard, and when you get enough to make a complete bundle, then you're going to compact it, or you compact it as you go?
Well, we just, every day, instead of having to process it, it goes in there.
It
End
goes
of
in
the
the
day, you
machine,
push a button.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It crushes it down when the machine is full.
The machine will do...
It bundles
When the
out.
machine gets full, that's your bundle.
Right.
So you just leave it in the machine till it's full?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Is this heavy duty, or is this industrial?
It's industrial, yes.
So it's not going to wear out in a year or two?
Yeah, it's very similar to the one, I pick up the meat 2 days a week from the Kroger on Lewis Center there, and I go in the back and I unload it out of the meat, 600-700 pounds a week. It's almost identical to their industrial machine, which is very similar to the one at, and again, we put the stuff in, you push the button, we don't have to process it to transport. I mean, it's right there, and I can't have a lot of it there, just even waiting for the weather to break or for the guys at the fair to get it out of the way so I can bring them more, because, that's a fire thing, and, you just, so we generate so much cardboard, I'm swimming in it, and we're gaining more every day.
Well, and aren't you the only one that can use the machine? Your present machine, that is, don't you have something right now that only you are licensed to use?
Well, we have a fork machine, like a tow motor, like a forklift thing. The idea is, if you come to our place and you look, I've got a big yellow line on the floor that goes out around the break room from the offices. My workers' comp premium for everybody on my office staff is like $45 a year, just for mine on that side of the line, because of the forklift and trucks and pallet racking. It's like $1,300 a year, and I carried that for my part-time maintenance guy, but he retired and I couldn't afford to rehire his position. So nothing really is donated to us pallet-wise off of a truck that wouldn't have a lift gate in the event I was not there or something like that.
So
But
it's the forklift.
it's a big...
I was thinking of, that you're the only one right now that can run.
It's just, and again, that's just OSHA, and I've had the training, and I pay the workers' comp premium to be able to
So
do it.
then with this thing, so you put the,
Just cardboard, tosses in a big hopper.
okay,
End of the day, you push a button, it compacts down.
Okay.
Comes back up, next day, throw it in. You don't have to process it like we are now.
okay,
And-
okay. And then what happens to it after,
When the thing is full,
yeah,
you put a pallet up to it, it bundles it in wire, pulls it out,
okay,
puts on there, we pick that up, put it in the back of the truck, drive it 1 mile, they unload it and pay us.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So that's the machine, and that's, what it would do for us, and again,
Yes.
it's just the next step, and if you can help me, that's great, if not, I'm going to have that, I'm going to find a way through, somebody's got to help us with that, and it would be just a great thing to,
Have you talked about 10 hours, was that your time, a week, a month, or?
that was within that 130 day in a slow month.
Period, so I'm assuming you would take that 10 hours and use it more productively somewhere else?
Yes, sir.
I set you up for that question, you realize that?
That was a softball to me, like you're,
Yeah, you didn't have that, but you did plug it.
yes.
and then the volunteer hours are another 27.25 for a total of 37.25.
And I was
And
very...
then the driving 84 miles, oh my gosh.
I was very careful in the way I calculated that, so that it wasn't just me making up how much
Sure.
time. We put that on a spreadsheet. We had a
Oh, I'm sure
a
you
form
did.
that they used to,
Yeah.
because I need to know, and,
Sure.
if I can save $1 here and $1 there, I think everybody would expect Penn to do that.
Sure.
That donates to us, to be as mindful as we can.
Now, this machine's on the outside of the building, the machine.
No, sir.
It looks like it's on the outside, maybe it's on the inside.
Yeah, there are some that can go on the outside.
This will be inside, I'm assuming, okay, for
Inside.
liability reasons, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and the electricity is there. It used to be a machine shop when we moved in, and the man was a German guy. I mean, a caricature of a big, tall, good-looking, silver-haired, blue-eyed German guy with the thickest accent you could imagine. But all his machines came from Germany, and they run a different phase of electricity over there. That's why you need a little adapter for your shave if you... But anyway, that's why we have so many transformers there, and we have so much electricity to run that shop that they'll just phase right in there. I've got plenty. I mean, it's not going to take... Last year when you helped me with the freezer, we had to run electricity to that. I mean, I had plenty to do, but it wasn't there, and now it's right there where this machine will go, and that's part of the installation is the electricity as well.
Boy,
Good.
boy, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Looks like a pretty straightforward project.
Yeah,
Well,
it does.
Really help.
Very, very well presented.
Keep up the good work, Ed.
Yes,
hey, well, thank you so much, and
yes.
we'll be here, and if...
Other questions? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
Yeah, Randy?
Yeah.
You-
Randy, you
Talk too much.
played a vital part in that.
It is vital, it is a word that's vital.
Yeah.
He's a lot
Got it
more tech
working.
savvy than I am, I can tell you that.
Yeah, good presentation.
Well, thank
Thanks
you
for
so
all you
much for
do.
your time, really.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Sarah, were you able to move up the final group? Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Boy, we got a lot of heavy hitters here.
Yeah, distinguished group.
Distinguished, just heavy.
Essentially, you implying you guys are overweight, I know.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Adam, you're going to lead it off?
Sure. Thanks for allowing us in this afternoon. I'm Adam Hansberry. I'm here representing the Strand Theater and Cultural Arts Association. As you guys have noted, a handful of our board members are present here as well, Brad, Steve, and Joe. And Jane will be joining us tomorrow as a new board member. If you're not aware, the theater is a 501c3 organization. We own and operate your local three-screen independent movie theater here on Winter Street. We do a variety of events in addition to running first-run movies, including film series, college and high school film festivals. We do after-school programming, summer SAC programming for the local daycares and schools. The facilities are also home to a couple of other local nonprofits, Main Street Delaware, Central Ohio Symphony, and Gallery 22, all reside in the building there with us. We are one of the longest operating first-run theaters in the U.S. You may recall we turned 100 last year in April, so we're officially 101 years old this year. Our mission is to expand an emerging cultural arts district within the county and the city of Delaware, and it's led by a group of local board members, both from public, private, and the local government sectors. We're here specifically today to ask for your assistance in completing one portion of our renovation project specific to the marquee, which is kind of our big glowing landmark there on Winter Street. Our plan is to upgrade that to full energy-efficient LED lights, require some electrical upgrades, and additions to motors to get the chaser lights working again. Those have not been functional for a number of years. In addition to just some general upgrades that will help protect the marquee for the theater for hopefully for another 100 years. This is part of a much larger overall renovation project. I'm assuming that most of you are aware of that. We're probably 6-7 years into a complete overhaul of the theater. We've had a number of local companies step up as well as individuals to make donations and pledges that have been able to allow us to complete about $1 million of renovations, plus or minus, over the last few years to the theater. Last remaining big projects are the renovation of the balcony and some needed improvements to the concession area. And with that, I'll entertain any questions you may have.
When you say marquee, you're talking about the signage out front that shows the movies.
Yes, sir.
Because my frustration has been, one side will have the name of the movie, and you have to, as you drive by, you have to look back to see the other side. If you're coming from the east to the west, it's been my, and I've expressed that before.
Yeah. The marquee operates with fluorescent bulbs still and some old incandescents. It's just really outdated, and our goal is to bring it into the 21st century.
Will you be able to do it and still maintain the historical look to it?
Yes. Most of what the upgrades will be you won't see, other than the LED bulbs. A lot of it's internal, but then you'll be able to see it just the way that it lights up much better. So you'll notice that. It'll be well lit on both sides.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's a pretty straightforward request as well.
It's one that I have personal empathy for because I've expressed it before.
Yeah, I have to compliment everyone on the main theater. Just turned out beautifully. Or adverb. It turned out beautifully. It's terrific. I mean, the sound, the picture, the seating, everything is just really nice.
Thank you. We think so, too. We've got a little bit more work to do in the main theater, just a few more seats to fill in, but if you haven't been in recently, we did complete some electrical upgrades in the main theater, just completed them right before the end of the year, so we have some new house lighting that has opened up the opportunity for us to use the theater for other events, because once you turn the lights up, you can actually see in there. So in addition to making it more useful, it also makes it easier for the cleaning crew as well. But if you haven't had an opportunity to check that out, we welcome you to stop by and see it.
The Friends of the Theater program going well?
Friends of the Theater, our business partnership program?
There's just local citizens. I know I joined. What's it called? Friends of the...
membership. So we did start a membership program. I think we rolled that out towards the middle of the year last year. And I don't have those numbers handy. I know we've got a number of folks that have signed up, but something I'd be happy to
Oh, I was just curious.
accurate, but no, I think
I
it's
was
going
hoping that
well.
would be successful. I would think that would be appealing to a lot of people.
We have also rolled out a business partnership program where we're inviting local companies to join, and in exchange, they get some signage on the marquee once it's well lit, as well as some on-screen time for advertising, and that's off to a pretty good start as well.
Okay. Yeah, again, it turned out great. Balcony is the last big piece to do, I know. September?
September.
Great.
Yeah, we're going to get started. We're going to get started in September. So we do have some state funding that's going to allow us to get started on that project. The scope of it's going to be a little bit smaller than what we originally had wanted to do, but I think it'll turn out very nice. It will allow us to get some new seating up there, to address the steep grading of the seating today. It'll just improve the overall experience for the folks that come in, and we'll continue to make upgrades and changes to it as resources allow us to.
Great.
In the spirit of full disclosure, I was a member for 4 years, and I just had constant conflicts, and either if I went there to that board meeting, I missed another board meeting, and so I chose to leave the board. It's a great organization. It's a great facility, and you replaced me with a greater person, so Jane. So I think she'll be a great addition to your board. And,
thanks, Gary, and thank you for your service as well.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
No, just thanks again.
Thank you.
I mean, it's a real gem.
for
Now,
saving
it's
the
going to be
strand.
real shiny and pretty,
Thank you.
even
Last.
prettier.
All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
hey, guys.
All right.
Hey, we're only 3 minutes behind.
Hey, this
We're
is
doing
good.
well. We're doing well.
This is good.
Helps when you know the organizations and
Yeah.
know what needs to be done, so.
And you've been waiting patiently.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was an organization I first learned about last year, so.
Huh? It's very interesting.
Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
guys had some really neat stuff going on.
Really neat work.
Sorry.
I like his shirt. That's kind of...
Yeah, that's kind of
Like when you
lettuce.
put a lettuce.
Yeah, shirts. Yeah,
Lettuce-like.
that, yes, lettuce-like shirts.
So I apologize, Doug Sharp was supposed to be here, Executive Director of Lettuce Work, but he had a family issue come up last minute, so he sent me as his replacement. So I'll try to do my best to answer all your questions and present this best I can. So I'm Brent Langenkamp. I'm the greenhouse manager at Lettuce Work, and I also work as a job coach there.
How do you spell your last name, Brent?
Langenkamp, Langenkamp.
Okay.
Long German last name, so.
There you go.
And you say it's Brad?
Brent, sorry.
Brent.
Okay.
Thanks.
Just a little bit about what Lettuce Work is. I'm sure some of you are familiar, but we are a nonprofit social enterprise, so we are selling lettuce to local grocery stores in the hopes that the revenue will one day sustain what we are trying to do there as an organization. So by expanding our greenhouse, we're looking to generate more revenue and be able to take on more people as clients and also be more sustaining. Our mission is to provide job training, work experience, and opportunities for adults with autism so they can live more independently. So we work with high school groups, and we have some people that we pay to work with us. So the high school groups are volunteer that come out to work with their vocational program to get on-site job training. And we like to think of it as like a secure environment, so they're not dealing with all sorts of outside influences. We know what issues they have and what they're working on, so we're not judging them on what they're doing when they're helping us. A little bit about autism. It's the fastest growing developmental disability out there. 60,000 per year or 164 per day are diagnosed with autism. So it's not an issue that is going away anytime soon. In Ohio, currently, there are 60,000 individuals, and 2,000 new ones each year are added to with that diagnosis. So a little bit about the societal cost. Autism services cost U.S. citizens somewhere between $236 to $262 billion, which is a large sum of money that citizens are providing to help them. The U.S. costs for a person with autism over the lifespan is about $2.4 million. So anybody that we can help job place or be a little bit more independent or self-sustaining that doesn't take that is a huge savings to citizens in general, and is also great for the individual because they get to live independently. So, and like it says in the last point there, most of it is in adult care. Children kind of fall with the school programs, and so that helps once they're out of the school programs, the cost to help them if they're not able to be independent at all or have any sorts of income is quite a bit. I've included a picture on there of one of our employees working. He graduated high school and has worked with us for 3 years. We have people do everything there. They harvest lettuce, do the seeding, transplanting, cleaning. They do processing. We used to have them help do deliveries where they go out and bring it to Kroger and help put it on the display shelves and stuff. They do small maintenance around there as far as like cleaning or cleaning the restrooms or stuff like that to learn just basic life skills. Some accomplishments for lettuce work. We're in our 3rd year of growing. I've been with the company 2.5 years, so I've been there for most of it. We have established distribution with 30-plus grocery stores, partner with mainly Kroger and Giant Eagle, and we like our independents, which are Hills, Lucky's, and I think we have Raisin Rack as well. So this is the 2nd year of generating an operating profit, and we have no debt on our balance sheet, so at least we're sitting financially in a very good spot. In support of our mission, we provide 3,500 hours to high school students each year for volunteer, and then we pay 2,500 hours for employment for adults with autism currently. We also work with the Franklin and Delaware County Boards of Developmental Disabilities, bringing in clients on waiver system. And that fluctuates depending. They come in, sometimes they stay for a year, and then they leave on to another job or something like that. Our capital project, we're trying to install 2 new bays and add lighting to the whole system. Currently in the winter, our lettuce production goes down to about 1/4 of what it does in the summer, just because it gets dark and cloudy in Ohio, and the lettuce, even though we heat it and we do all this other stuff, it just doesn't want to grow. And the main problem with that, besides the loss of revenue, is that when you have to tell Kroger, we can't deliver for this month, it's really hard in the spring to pick them back up once we have lettuce. They're like, well, we made it this far without you. You know, do I really want to move stuff off the shelves to get you back in? So by hopefully adding these bays and the light, we can sustain the same customers and then have extra in the summer that we can distribute to the produce distributor.
So you can actually grow lettuce with LED lighting?
Yes, they do it with currently high-intensity discharge lights or HID lights. They're just really not cost-effective to run because an LED that puts out the same amount of lumens or light value is about 40% the energy cost. So we decided that if we can get this project installed, it'd be better in the long run of running it down the road if we can, because I think the lifespan on them is 50,000 hours or something, or 500,000 hours, something like that, where they're supposed to run for, because we're only going to run them for 6 to 8 hours a day, because you're only supplementing the light. We're not trying to run in the warehouse where there's no other light, so we're only adding it on dark days or whatever, and then in the summer we won't run lights to save on energy. We're hoping by adding the other 2 bays, we're also going to increase our individuals that we're helping by 50%. And we have quite a bit of our project already funded. We have the State of Ohio on board, the Columbus Foundation, Autism Speaks, Harry C. Morris Foundation. You guys have donated last year, which helped out a lot. And then we have the Ingram White Castle Foundation also just donated. And we're hoping to improve our revenue by 40% with the project complete. The next picture is just basic greenhouse structure. That's what we're trying to add. It's about 2 bays looking like that. And then state-of-the-art LED technology just to try to save some money down the road once they're installed. We're $10,000 short of our overall budget goal to be able to install both of them. And we're starting the bidding process. We started last week. So we're well underway. The state of Ohio has generously donated $250,000. Private donors have donated $262,000. So we're just $10,000 shy, like I said, and we're requesting $5,000 from you guys, if available, to help us finish the thing up. So, any
Well,
other
you've
questions?
done a great job on the fundraising.
Yeah, people have been very generous, and there is a lot of support for
Yes.
the Autism Society because of how fast it's growing, and everybody knows somebody that is diagnosed or affected with it somehow. So when we ask for help, we've been very lucky to receive very generous.
Let Us Work is a 501c3.
Yes, correct.
Commissioner Merrill? Question?
A couple of questions. Were you the presenter last year?
No, Doug Sharp, the executive director, was.
I didn't recall. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
One of the questions that was raised last year was, you're right on the border between us and Franklin County. And the question or the challenge was approaching Franklin County and asking them to contribute, because I think they have many more clients than we have getting your services. And do you know if anything was done on that?
I know they've approached, because we're all on the corner of Licking, Franklin, and Delaware, so they've tried to approach, because I think the original idea, and I'm kind of speaking a little bit out of turn here because I don't know, from just what I've gathered from it, is that when they built it, they thought they would be able to help the most counties because they'd be located by 3, they could pull from 3 and help. And they didn't realize that until it was done that they pretty much draw the line at those borders. And so as far as I know, Franklin won't help. Because we have a client that works out there, lives in Franklin, but even though the one side of the road is Franklin County and the other side we're on is Delaware, they didn't want to provide transportation for them because we were in Delaware, even though it just crossed the line. We were able to get that changed so they could work out there. But so to my knowledge, Franklin has not helped us because of the county line. But they might have done something else that I'm not aware of.
And you're in Harlem Township, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember that from last year. It is. It's at that very southeast corner of
I
Harlem.
mean, it is right in the, yeah.
Right. You're actually not far from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paid staff, other than the autism adults?
Other than the individuals that we're helping,
Yeah.
it's basically, I'm the only full-time staff they pay, and then I have one other job coach that's there part-time with 2 individuals mainly that she focuses with, and so when they're not there, she tries to stay away to help save on the budget.
How many adults actually are paid through the program?
So we have approximately 5. It floats. Some work one day, and some work the full week. So it depends how you want to calculate it exactly, but it's somewhere around 5 people that we have.
I think I read in there it's 2,500 hours.
Yeah, so it's not, yeah. And most of them can't work starting out at a 40-hour week. They have to kind of build up to being able to stay there longer periods of time.
And these are people that are autistic that are working, or?
That's our primary focus. Because we work with some of the schools, like we work with Westerville's schools right now, they don't have a special program set up for only individuals with autism, so we take whatever group they want to send out that needs vocational training, and we tell them we have a focus on autism. So we work with all the groups, but our main focus is for providing autism.
And the percentage makeup between Licking, Franklin, and Delaware, how would that break out?
I think Doug said it's a little bit complicated. One of the schools we work with is a private school, so they can go from anywhere. It's Oakstone Academy. It's a school for autistic children. So we don't know exactly where they come from, and that's our primary one. And then Westerville is split up between Franklin and Delaware, I believe, he said. So it pulls students from both. So, and we don't ask them when they show up there what county they're residing in. So it's hard to say out of all those volunteer hours what percent is coming from which county, but I would say.
There are adults and then students, too.
Yeah, well, it's a gray area because most of them are 18 or older.
Okay.
They're working in their vocational, like after-school program while they're still at the school.
Okay.
And we do work with some that are still within like the high school age. So that's why we call them young adults with autism, because while they're still school students, they're also adults. So we try to transition them from just being called students to adults.
Do you have other jurisdictions supporting you? Obviously Franklin County and...
The state of Ohio, I know, is the biggest one as far as
county-wise, I haven't
Counties,
heard.
cities, townships, villages, anybody? Are there any
Not that I've been made aware of.
Are there any nonprofits that support you, or individual donors? I mean, how much?
We have lots of donors, and like the
individual donors, and
yes, and we also have like the Ingram White Castle Foundation.
Okay.
So we've had some bigger donors like that have we've worked with before, so that are very supportive of it.
And the product's very good.
Oh, you
Had the product, huh?
The product is,
awesome.
I'd just like to follow up with a challenge, and I'm willing to help, and I'm sure Commissioner Lewis or Commissioner Benton. This is a program that really Franklin County should be participating in. For me to continue to support it after this year, I guess I need that reassurance. I need
some kind of...
I'm happy to put you in touch with the commissioner that I know. I'm sure Commissioner Lewis will do the same. I think if you start now, you could probably create an opportunity by this time next year where you would maybe could get you.
From them.
But it's reasonable to assume, based on the benefit they also receive.
Yeah, and I don't think Doug would have any problem with that if we can get it. We don't want to turn away any support that we can get, especially since we are so close to the other counties. And the idea was that we were going to pull from them. I think he just found it to be more of a challenge because of the border.
We're happy to make a call over there with the commissioner over there, but certainly Franklin.
Yeah.
And
sure.
And to the degree that we can provide you some help, I think we probably could. I'm speaking for me, but I think I'm getting nods.
I'm supportive too.
So I think over the next 30 to 60 days, you should, once this is behind us, you should reach out to the Delaware County and ask for that help. If you can't make direct contact.
Okay, so reach out to you guys so we get the contact number. Okay.
And you can decide which route you go with who. Okay.
Sounds excellent. I'm sure Doug will be happy to hear that. So.
okay, that's it.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We'll be just on time with everything.
Yeah, what are we? 4:45. We could take a.
Yeah. Yeah.
For our next distinguished guest.
Yes. Hi, Harold.
Thank you.
Okay.
How you doing?
Okay.
Microphone's all yours there, Harold. If you could identify yourself for the record.
Pardon?
Identify yourself for the record.
I'm Harold Wilford, President of Vietnam Veterans America, Chapter 295, which is a local affiliate of the National Vietnam Veterans, which is accredited by Congress. We are a 501c19, which means we're a military nonprofit organization. It's the same as a C3, except we got to be 75% military or veteran, which we are. And thank you for inviting us back. This year, what we're going to ask for is we'd like to enhance our public presence and appearance. I'd like to make additional enhancements to our Honor Guard uniform ensemble. Presently, we currently have about 15 Honor Guard members, and we'd like more. But basically, for the most part, Honor Guard members purchase their different uniform items. The chapter defrays some of the cost where we can. But I believe there are some people that don't become part of the Honor Guard because of cost constraints, and they won't admit it or they won't ask for help, and we don't want to force the issue, but we'd like to way to enhance it. And some of our people we're pushing for, we have short sleeve shirts for our uniform and something like long sleeves for wintertime, and Army raincoats and overcoats. So in inclement weather, we look nice and we kind of stay dry and warm while we're out there. Because when it comes to honor guard funeral services, it's I guess a crapshoot on how long you're waiting. So, plus we'd like to spiffle up, add bayonets to our rifles. We currently have bayonets, so when we set up a combat cross at a funeral or an event, we can do that. A lot of honor guards do have bayonets on their rifles at honor ceremonies. It's just a layer of combat respect. I have various costs estimated costs for like the shirts and the raincoats and the other coats. Part of the thing on some items are difficult to find because there's items that we like to go with military surplus. That way we're guaranteeing we're getting U.S. military spec made in the U.S. We're not crazy about ordering foreign reproduction materials for a military honor guard. That's just us. And for our presents, we discussed, and you might see the trailer, thought about if we had a covered trailer and we could put a wrap on, like an auto wrap on it with graphics and information. Because sometimes, I guess I've been told when a bunch of us roll into a cemetery and people ask, who are these and what are they doing here? And we offload all our stuff out of a couple of different vehicles and drag it up without the presence of a trailer. When you're rolling only to a funeral but any other event, wow, look, it's the Vietnam Veterans America Chapter 1095 is here. Absolutely everything is loaded and ready to go. And now we've got to determine, okay, we set up the American flag and the service flag at a funeral. Okay, you got to make sure you got the right branch of service flag with you. If we have the capabilities of hauling everything, doesn't matter. You do have it. In fact, which one we got? Could also serve to store the items, except the rifles. DoD requirements are they are stored under 3 layers of locks, which they are, and I couldn't see storing them in a trailer. They would be loaded at the time we rolled out. But we would like to customize the inside for rifle racks and hold sign equipment, flags, and all that good stuff. So, depending on what options you get, I've looked at trailers and between $2,500 and $5,000 for a size that we would want. And I figure it costs $1,000 or $2,000 to customize the interior for racks and holders and all that stuff. So, and periodically we get asked to help fund or sponsor different events. A lot of them we have to say no to, and because we don't have the funds. It's very restrictive from the National Vietnam Veterans on how we can get funding or raise funds. We can't go out and do raffles and sell things and do that. It's the DAV has the same type of restrictions. So grants like you guys do are totally acceptable at the national level. As we do with memorial funds and others, and we've done with funds from you guys in the past, we do put things in restricted accounts, and we guarantee that they will only be used for designated items, and we do provide accountability and feedback should you desire. It's like, okay, what did you guys spend this money on? This is what and this is why. Well, and we are going to finish off last year's, actually tomorrow. We're going to Sam Ash and spend about $2,500, which is more than what's left. And there will be a phenomenal sound system on Memorial Day when you get out there. We did spec it out, and we said we want something that we can set up out here and you're going to hear us on the corner. So we're addressing those. So that's, I guess we would like to enhance our presence and our honor guard is what we're asking funding for. And, if the answer is no, then we plow along slowly like we have been. If the answer is yes, that's great, that's perfect. So, it's one of two answers. Any questions?
How many events do you do, Harold, per year, roughly?
Non-funeral events?
The honor guard events.
Well, the honor guard funerals depends on how many deaths and how many calls we get. Public events currently, half a dozen?
I'd say half a dozen to a dozen.
And when we're in the Veterans Parade, or if we're in the 4th of July Parade, having a trailer behind our unit would say, hey, wow, look at these guys. It's pretty good PR and advertising, and makes life easier on us for transporting stuff. So, funerals,
we've had 19 VBA deaths last year.
Yeah. Really? Yeah, and that's a small number. DCA does a lot more than we do, but we generally cover Vietnam where we requested. So.
Do you only do Vietnam, or do you do whoever requests? Okay. Do you tend to get requests outside just the Vietnam veterans?
Yes, and outside the county also.
Yes.
We're recognizing us.
And the plus on the DCVA has stepped up because of our philosophy is if we're asked, we will go. We don't look at county lines, and we don't look at when someone served. A veteran's a veteran, period. You want an honor guard, we'll do it. And for us, the funeral homes know, and they've caught on, my answer is always yes. Maybe one, but the answer is yes. The least we've ever done is 4 honor guard members, and we did 2 funerals in one day. And they shifted the second one to allow us time to get from southern Delaware County to the north end so we could cover it. So we're dedicated to serving. And we don't have a lot of ways to raise money. So
Other honor guards other than you, Vietnam veterans?
there is what they call the Delaware County Veterans Association that does an honor guard. It's a conglomerate of people from all the others, and that's all they do. They don't do any other functions or activities. They used to do Oak Grove, the flags and stuff, but 2-3 years ago, somehow I inherited the function, and we changed the way it is. They used to put them out Memorial Day and take them up, and then put them out on Veterans Day and take them up. We currently have them out year-round. 365. We go in monthly and we refresh, do about 300 flags a month to keep them fresh. We're starting to work with other entities in the county So we would like to see that philosophy countywide. There's basically 48 cemeteries in Delaware County. And if you go to any of them, you'd like to be able to look at all the veterans. We got the flags, we got the flag holders. The Veteran Service Office is really good at providing us with the flags that we need and repairing flag holders. So that's a community service function that we do every month that people don't see, don't think about. So we're, you know, and the people in need, folks, we're signed up. We're there every month. We just, there's just, our philosophy is that we are a community service organization to serve Delaware County, not only the veterans, but anyone in Delaware County. Of course, we do emphasize veterans, because that's what we are and what we do. But, you know, one of the guys says, well, what about, you know, school time in the fall where kids need backpacks and school supplies and stuff? Can we help out with that? So, you know, those are the types of other things we've discussed on, you know, can we help and what can we do? So, yeah, it's a high price tag I've asked for, but you never do 100% either. Oh, I've been here.
Kind of along those lines, extending that thought, how would you prioritize your requests? You know, you got the trailer and the uniforms and bayonets and...
We would do the trailer first.
That would be your first...
And look at expanding our honor guard uniform and dress and how we look, because, you know, there's some guys that can't afford, some don't take reimbursement of the things we do reimburse. Because last year we decided to go with the jungle boots, which can be pricey. And we determined we reimbursed for the cost of jungle boots. Some of them got them for $30. Some of them had to pay $85. So we don't restrict on if this is a part of the uniform, whatever it costs for that person is what we'll pay because of the way these things work. So we're not going to say, okay, we'll give you $25, which, well, for our shirts, which have a bunch of patches and everything else, it was, what, $20, $25?
Yes.
And then we offset the cost. Well, some of the patches, specialized patches, some would cost $2 and some were $15 a piece. So, well, we're trying to make this so that if anybody in our organization wants to be a part of Honor Guard, you don't have to say, well, it's going to cost you this much money to do this.
Good approach. We did have, Sandy Kuhn was in earlier from the fair, and she's asking for funding for the Vets Dinner.
That's great.
Right.
That is on the Friday of the fair. So,
Yes.
So anyway, I just want to make sure you knew that she had made that request.
Yes. They chose not to have our participation.
Oh, no? But
We will run it ourselves. Okay, thank you.
You're still a veteran, though. You'll still be invited, I assume.
I hope so.
yeah, you sure should be.
They said you can come in and run all the other veteran stuff at fair if you want. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's very early stages, so
Yeah.
she may reach out yet.
If they want, because we said, Joe, we would be more than happy to come in and run and sponsor. And if we wanted to somehow tie that together with us, I don't have a problem with that either. Because they need veteran input, in our opinion, and they should have an honor guard.
And they need the historical information.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
A bullet ran for years, you know, there's a little bit of information up here.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you knew that they...
I am well aware. And they said, well, you're going to set up your display in the Coliseum. I'm like, I don't think so.
Okay, question.
A couple questions. You said the other honor group was Delaware County. Is it the Veterans Association that provides that honor group, or is that someone else? There's a veteran association.
Right. County Veterans.
Are they the ones providing the other honor guard, or?
There's the other honor guard in the county.
It's not coming through Don's group?
Veteran Services?
Veteran Services.
Veteran Services provides them with compensation for mileage.
Yes.
Okay. I want to make sure there's not a competition here and we're going to create
And actually, they defer to us.
So they're supporting your, supporting your request.
Yes, there have been times where each group has had several in the same week, and a lot of times we'll have two going on at the same time, two different cemeteries. In my opinion, I think every major organized veteran group in the county should have an honor guard.
And you have an opinion? Okay.
Not me, Gary.
I got a couple more questions. The honor guards consist of 4, correct? 4 people?
No, the honor guard consists of 15.
We have 15. Like I said, the least we've done at a funeral
At least 4.
is 4 showing up and we get 2 in one day.
Situation we have up to 15.
Yes.
That's an example of our dedication.
Okay, a question I have is, you're asking for uniforms, the shirts. Someone gets a shirt, but they never participate. Is that a problem, or they tend to follow through and participate?
We have rules in place for that.
Okay.
You must be an active participating member of the chapter to be considered to be honor guard.
And how big is your chapter?
Pardon?
How many is in your chapter?
We have 53 now. We had 56. We had a couple die. You guys, Joe and Larry last year. So the vast majority of our members are life members. So they're not going to be dropping off anytime soon. And if they have to actively participate for a certain amount of time before we actually reimburse them for their costs.
Now, a lot of people already have it, so you're not talking about a shirt and raincoat for everyone, because some already have it. You're talking about people who don't have it or may not have the financial wherewithal to...
That's a yes and a no. We do not have any raincoats at the present time.
Oh, okay.
The raincoats would be on the trailer. Here, you need a raincoat?
You use it just for that event. The raincoat you just use for that event, and it goes back in the trailer.
Right.
So you don't need 15 is all you're going to need.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
We've got ponchos, but they're not working out real well.
I think you are a little aggressive in your request based on what I just heard, so...
I know. Why do you mean? I gotta be me.
I understand.
Mrs. Lewis, you know, and I know, and everybody knows that your husband is a member of the group, so we do not want to infringe upon you as to...
Yes, I may have to recuse myself on this one.
I thought about this morning.
Thank you.
Your organization is.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that that's knowledge.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
And Jim is a life member of our group.
that's right. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
so that's a positive and a negative on our part.
Yeah, he's great to have in membership, but you may lose Marv's ability to vote. So.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, I think we've asked our questions, and we appreciate, as always, everything you do, and appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, and if they don't reach out, if you get any information on the fair stuff, you know.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be.
You guys know how to get all of them.
Exactly. Where you live.
You know where I live, and I got my cell phone number, so that's cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Harold.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is all.
Last one?
Last one, yeah.
We can start early, can't we, Jennifer?
Yes, because these times
Right.
weren't advertised.
Okay.
2 o'clock is advertised.
Okay.
Day after 2 is free.
All right. Okay, we will, if you are ready, we will turn it over to you, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us to be here today. I'm very glad that you got hold of us, and I'm here with Mary Ann Davis. She is the president of the Women's City Club Foundation. It's a 501c3, and if you walk out your back door and look across the street, and just down the street, you're going to see the Women's City Club.
Yep.
So let me tell you about the Women's City Club. The Women's City Club has been helping low-income working women in Delaware County for 60 years. Since 1954, we've offered low-cost housing every year and supportive services to women without minor children living with them as they transition to be financially independent to live on their own. We're not a women's shelter. We are transitional housing with a larger goal. While women who stay at the WCC, we provide them mentorship opportunities. We're directing the residents to existing programs that can help them meet their financial goals. This journey is different for every woman that comes in. Some might require job training. Some might need additional education. Some might need just a little bit of time to get on their feet financially, and they're okay. For many years, the members of the Women's City Club have provided the services to bring them in, help them out, get them on their feet financially so that they can go get their own apartment or go get their own living situation. We struggle to pay our bills. Our utility bills are outrageous. We have a 3-story house, and it's pre-1900, so you can imagine. Back in 2010, it actually came to a point where we questioned whether we could continue to keep our doors open and provide this valuable service because the daunting repairs that needed to be made to this house were ridiculous. We had leaks in our heating and cooling. Well, we didn't have a cooling system, but we had leaks in our heating system. It was kind of like playing whack-a-mole. We'd fix one leak 1 week, and then the next week we'd have another leak somewhere else. And this continued over a long period of time. And so we really questioned whether we can make it. We decided to really get aggressive with our fundraising. We're all volunteer, so we do that on our own. We raised money, and the windows that we had back then were $18.99 windows. And we have replaced some of them now. We've got new heating. We've got new cooling because the new units that we had to get actually have cooling in them, but our windows are in such bad repair that in some rooms you can't really tell that we have the heating and the cooling because the windows are so inefficient. The house is brick, and it doesn't really have a way to modernize it too much with insulation. You just can't pipe it in like you would a more modern home. It's 10 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, kitchens, lounge upstairs. There's a lot of movement within our home, and that causes more wear and tear than the average home. We've done a lot of repairs over the past 60 years, but with no funding and only occasional grants, usually from churches and residents, we have relied heavily on fundraisers held by our all-volunteer membership. 4 years ago, we asked for some larger donations, and the wonderful people of Delaware came to our rescue. We replaced those steam heaters and got the new units. We replaced our roof. Now we're continuing to replace those windows that are causing us such a problem. We've replaced windows in 4.5 of the 14 rooms in the top 2 floors, which constitutes our residential program. We still need to replace the rest, as well as windows on the first floor of our building. Attached is a bill for some of the remaining windows to be updated. The estimate from APCO Window and Door in Westerville is for $13,461.28. We would greatly appreciate help from the County Commissioner's Community Enhancement Fund to complete some of these windows. We've attached here the list of windows and quotes that we have so that you can look over them. The rooms are being replaced as we can afford them. So that tells you we could afford 4.5 right now. But there are people over there, women over there, who really need their windows replaced badly, and we just have to take it worst case scenario by worst case scenario. We have bid that out, by the way. It's been through the bidding process, and APCO, out of 4 vendors that bid, APCO was the best bid. So any questions that you might have about what we would like to do with money, if we should be so fortunate to get it, we'd be glad to answer them.
So it's 9.5 windows then that you need?
Well,
you have 4.5. Of the
4.5 of the 14 rooms in the top 2 floors, is that? This is Beth Fisher here.
Numbers of windows in each room. So we have 4.5 rooms done.
Oh.
14 rooms altogether in the second and third floor.
There are 10 bedrooms.
There were 23 windows there, and
like we've done the kitchen, room 5, room 10, and we do them as we get them. They gave us a quote for every window and door in our house when we first started.
Right.
And then as we get money, we've been doing the windows. So we've got the kitchen, room 2, room 5, and room 10. And then I just got quotes for 4 because we have some rooms that only have 1 window, so I think we could knock out a couple windows. Because room 5 was the largest room. It had 7 openings. So 7 openings was $7,800. And you don't think it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot, but they're making them so they're not your cheap vinyl replacement window. They're going to last for another 30, 40, 50 years.
they're good windows. The problem is that the rooms, because of the age of the house, none of these are standard windows. They're very tall, tall ceilings, so they all have to be made custom. Somehow we had one room, room 2, redone, and they didn't use custom windows, and it's appalling.
Yeah.
It is just horrible.
We're trying to keep with the character of the house. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that home, but it used to be, a long time ago, it was an Ohio Wesleyan fraternity house. And it also, this is really great stuff, it was where Norman Vincent Peale lived when he went to school at Ohio Wesleyan. It has a long storied history. It's a beautiful home. It really is. Despite us telling you everything that's wrong with it, there's a whole lot that's right with it. And we would invite you over anytime you want to take a tour and go through it.
It is pretty. I know from the outside.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the windows that they're replacing, like at the top have grids in them, they're still going to maintain the integrity by putting the grids back in the window. We're not taking from the integrity of the house by we're making it modern, but it's still going to be beautiful like 1865.
That was important to us. We just don't want to slap up some cheesy window that's going to not really work for our needs and not fit the character of the home, because it's too important. It's a beautiful place. We want to be around for another 50, 60 years to do this. So.
But how much funding?
Stay up or stay down. And
Yeah.
we don't have those.
These are painted shut. I mean, like, some of them are, and I'm not exaggerating because it's still, if you have, some of them are decorative because they're so flimsy and the gap is so wide. We actually duct tape them so that they stay without the wind. And we've got to cover the plastic, and we've got to buy patio plastic because that can get me 2 windows instead of 1 window.
Yeah.
But we do it.
We make it work, but it's difficult, and we're not really enjoying all the economy that we've got in our new heating and cooling system when it's all going right out the window. So,
Where do you get your funding today?
it's all through fundraisers. It's personal donation and fundraisers. We don't have United Way funding. We don't have funding from major foundations. It's very much pass the hat at a church and get some money there. Or
Princess Tea. We're having a Princess Tea.
I knew she was going to pitch that.
Of course I am. But we'll probably raise between $1,000 and $2,000. We do kids stuff at the Arts Festival. Everything is free. We get tips. We might raise $250 or $300 for that after we pay for this really chunky stuff that we buy. We have a garden tour in June. We will sell beer at the
Delaware County Fair.
So we raise little bits here and there, very small amounts. We did a tremendous job. I can't believe that it happened. a few years ago, and we actually raised over $100,000.
Gee.
We replaced the heating and cooling system, we replaced the roof. It was like a miracle.
It was a miracle.
It really was. I've been involved with this 25 years. We have never done anything like that before. So, but we still need some more help.
There was a lot of prayer that went into that year, because that was one of those years where we really thought we were going to have to throw 10 women out on the street if we couldn't find something. And we really worked hard and prayed about it, and it was a miracle that happened. Yeah, heat and cooling, but it's just not, with those windows, some of them have gaps like this. And our website, if you go on our website, we actually have a video on there that shows how bad some of the windows are. They are huge gaps. The women who live there, they're grateful to have a nice place to stay, but they have to put up with a lot, too. There's a lot of things that we have to do to make it work.
Do you have, does the City of Delaware, have you approached the City of Delaware about funding?
We have not been able to receive funding from the City of Delaware as of yet. We would like to.
We got some help a few years ago with some gutters. That might have been 8 or 9, 10 years ago.
That was before I was in the club, sorry. I stand corrected.
Where do the women who stay there, where do they come from? Are they Delaware City, Delaware County, Central Ohio, all over?
It's usually someplace in Delaware. We get referrals from sometimes the police department, sometimes mental health, Salvation Army will call us, churches always call us, and they somehow find us. I mean, we don't advertise.
And one of the things to add to that, we wanted to find that out ourselves for grant writing purposes, and we started trying to keep track of where everyone came from in the previous 30 days prior to coming to City Club, and the sheets were this long because they were on some friend's couch, and they were at Mom's house this day, and at another friend this day. You just couldn't keep track of where they came from because a lot of them are homeless. They're homeless, but they're not on the street because they're staying at a friend's house. They're couch surfing is what I'd like to call it.
Or living in their car.
Yeah, we've had that. We've had women who have lived in their car at the truck stop, and they have, we've gotten phone calls from city leaders who have found them out there and said, hey, can you get them in? We've been able to do that and help them out. We've just, I don't want to go into every sad story we've had, but we've had women who have actually been in a position of compromising their own safety, security, and integrity just to be able to have a place to put a roof over their head. And, one lady came in not too long ago, and she walked in the room and she started crying because she hadn't had a bed for so long and hadn't been able to stretch out. She had been living in her car for months. These are the cases that we have right down the street. And, it's, I think it's really sad. We don't want to go out and tell everyone this and get a big, we don't want in any way for our women who live at our facility to be compromised. And, so we don't want them to have a target on their back, oh, you're one of those ladies or whatever. So we're very sensitive on how we approach this. And I know that we'd like to get the word out about what we do, and a lot of people don't know what we do because we are quiet in the way that we do it.
Do you stay full most of the time?
That's what I was going to ask.
Pretty much, yeah. We're pretty much full all the time. We have waiting lists. Now, sometimes, we may have 2 rooms at once that are open, but they don't stay open long. We have occupancy in there pretty much all the time. And the next question is probably going to be, how long do people get to stay? That depends on their journey. I mean, we've had women who are getting a divorce and need to get away from their husband because maybe their husband manhandles them and they just need, the space. Sometimes they'll come in and within a couple of months they'll be able to save enough money to put down in their own apartment. They'll be able to go through the legal system enough to get them some protection, and they'll be able to move out. We've had women who come in there and they have a lot longer road. We've had women who have lost everything they own because they got sick and didn't have insurance to cover the cancer that they got. We've had women who have been homeless for a long time through no fault of their own. We have women who have low skills, and sometimes they just need some help finding jobs, and we connect them in and try to do the best we can to get them services, reach out to people we know to try to get them jobs, and that's
the goal to get them on their feet and get them Out?
That is. It is the goal.
And they're from 18 to 80. There's no
Yes.
age discrimination.
Right.
One of the funniest stories was a nun that was at St. Mary's, and when they stopped using Latin in the church, it angered her, and she was not going to be a nun any longer, so she came to live in the city club because you had to speak Latin in the Catholic Church, and they weren't speaking Latin anymore, so she was mad. And she came here, she was, what, 74?
I can't remember how old she was, but it was, she had left her parents' house to the convent, and then she came to us.
Yeah.
Interesting about this woman, though, she found religion again with Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
She did move out. She had a job. She lived with us for a long time. She moved out and she had her own apartment. For a few months. She was 80-some years old. And then the poor dear died. But at least we gave her something away from what she had before, and she didn't have to go.
We've had 18-year-olds that, just time out of foster care, and they need a place to go, or they have just a really bad home life, and they need to get away from that. We have, right now, we have a young girl that's trying to get her life in order. She suffered some mental illness problems, and there's really no place for her to be. And she's in and out of treatment. We don't provide treatment. We would never, we refer, but we won't provide anything like that or even try to. But what we do with her is we're trying to help her stay afloat mentally so that she can move on, take classes, get a job. She has a job, but get a better job to support her. And for each person, like I said, it's different.
A couple of questions. Lost my train of thought there for a second. I had a tour a couple of years ago. I don't know who gave me the tour. Was it any one of you three?
I might have.
Well, if you don't remember me, I remember you.
Yeah.
So, but it's been about 2 years, I think. I'm surprised that Delaware doesn't give you anything, and I wonder why that is. Are they something about your services that bothers them, or they say they don't have the financial wherewithal? Why would they not? There's an expectation for the county.
Honestly, that part of that is because we don't have United Way. We can't get United Way funding because we don't have the ability to hire someone right now and keep the stats and everything that they want. It's pretty much a full-time job just to keep the figures and the continuity and everything they want with United Way funding. And with the city of Delaware, we've run into a similar situation because I've tried to get appointments down there and tried to do things, but it's just been more complicated. It hasn't been a situation of us being able to explain what we do. It's, trying to root us through with others that are in the Delaware Community Foundation and getting that kind of funding. And we just kind of get, there's 10 rooms. It's a very small organization. We just kind of get bowled over there.
Let me add, we don't have a specific service like mental health
Right.
or drug addiction or a food bank or anything like that. We offer housing for people who don't have it, and it's a flow. When I first moved to Delaware, it was the only place women could go. And still, there's no shelters. This is the only place they have a church, and women can't go there. So we are the only place. We've talked to people in the city, we've never been offered anything. We don't have a program that follows, we're two grassroots. We're not as organized as the New Women's Shelter would be.
Right, yeah.
We're just a small group of women. There are 30 of us. And that number changes periodically, and some are more active, some are in their 80s and 90s who aren't very active anymore. And we do what we can, but we just have not been that organized.
Yes.
You say in your letter here, attach a bill for some of the remaining windows. So there's more than just what's on this list, or is this?
Yeah.
Must be.
How many windows are there?
The list that you have, that amount is better over there. That's more
Right.
room.
That house, I think, has 70-some windows. Didn't we count that?
We have 76 windows.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've raised money for some of them.
We knew you didn't have tons of money, so we didn't want to ask for all.
We're not trying to be greedy. But we would surely appreciate anything we can get.
I think that's all I have.
But, and we're a 501(c), so, you know, when you think about it, every dime that we bring in, it takes like 11 cents. I mean,
And no paid staff.
No paid staff.
And that's where we have problems, is because we don't have the money to pay somebody because we're fixing the house or we're helping.
No paid staff.
And they range anywhere, our rooms are $50 to $65 a week, so that's what the ladies pay, $50 to $65, depending on the size of the room.
Oh, so they do pay.
They do pay
Nominal,
And they have to have a
fairly.
job. I mean, they just can't come and, you know, live, they have to be productive.
And part of that, let me tell you the reason that that exists, part of that is we kind of follow, you know how Habitat for Humanity has you have to put some skin in the game. Well, we're trying to get them to be self-sufficient. And so a lot of the women come to us, they don't even have a bank account. We've partnered with the Delaware County Bank. We have our rooms set up on an account over there, and the women come in and they go pay their rent at the Delaware County Bank. We try to work with them so that they start putting a little bit of money ahead and start planning. Those are new things for them. They've never done that. And we keep it very low, but then, of course, if there's an issue that, you know, we don't always collect 100% of rent when it's supposed to be due. And it's just because, you know, they have issues. Some things happen, and we're the ones who are responsible for, you know, trying to collect the rent and stuff.
These are the people that fall through the cracks.
They do.
They're not the ones who are on the welfare who get all paid. They're not the ones who can take care of themselves. They're the ones who may have some mental problems, intellectual problems, interacting with other people, kinds of problems, that just have a hard time making it on.
Yeah.
And we're just a little help.
We also have a mentorship program, so that if you come and you want somebody to help you, we're
Oh,
there.
that's good.
Yeah, we're,
Yes.
tell me what your goals are, and I'm going to help you get to that goal. What young lady that she just called me today, she just got married 2 weeks ago, and she's graduating college. But she came and she lived with us for 7 months, and she took 3 jobs, and she paid off everything. She had tunnel vision to make this happen for her, and now she's on her feet, and she gives back to the Women's City Club.
Yeah,
So-
boy, that's great.
Yeah, so it's not always about taking, they always also give.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we need to wrap this up. There's a lot going on across the hall.
Is that a retirement party?
Ron said it's a swearing in.
I'm sorry?
Promotion. Swearing in. Swearing in. EMS?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
must be.
I saw Mike
think,
and
yeah.
the gang.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Great.
If you
so.
want all 76 windows, I can give them to you.
Yeah, thank you for all you're doing
Yeah,
to
thank you.
help
That's-
everyone.
that is a-
all the women you're helping.
Noble work, that's for
Yes.
sure. Okay. I think we're, yeah, so
Before we do that, do we want to talk about the process of how we're going to get this, just so we're all on the same page while we're in a public setting?
I will mention that Cy will be sending you an email with what everyone is being flushed.
And the way we did it last year, we all looked at it
Individually.
individually and passed on to, I guess, Razan, and that list will be helpful. And so just make sure we're all on the same page before we walk out of here.
Yep.
Sure. And this was very helpful. The presentations were
Yeah.
really good, interesting.
A lot of good organizations do a lot of good work.
Yes, yes. Boy, heartwarming.
Okay.
Did you need to adjourn first?
Yeah, do we need to adjourn? What?
Go ahead.
Yes, we are adjourned. All right.